The following is a world-class Bullshitters exclusive.
Good morning, pop culture, and I am live. It's good to be back on this Monday, November 26, 2018. It's 7:55 a.m., and it's time to start your day with the best internet show, I don't know, in all of space and time, and infinity and beyond, and all that other shit. So yes, I am back here on the channel. It's been, almost a whole week since you guys have heard from me last. Why? Because I was incredibly sick. I know I did a live stream on Friday, but properly here back in the office, you haven't heard from me in quite a while. But for the most part, I'm over that. I'm feeling damn good. I was able to enjoy my Thanksgiving. I was actually able to enjoy my time off a lot. The more I think about it, I mean, I was able to record all the stuff for Tuesday, so you guys got your Planes, Trains, and Automobiles commentary, but I did accidentally upload it to the Good Morning Pop Culture channel. So if you're out there wondering, Jeff, didn't you tell us about a commentary that was going to happen? It happened. I recorded it. I uploaded it. Everything was fine. It just went to the sister channel. So if you guys are looking for that, make sure you guys are subscribed to Good Morning Pop Culture to catch my mistakes like that. But we did that. We recorded our next Bond commentary for those who are over on Patreon. And then in the middle of that one, I started to feel pretty sick. So I laid down, woke up, chills, fever, all that crap. I thought I was going to pass out and die at the restaurant. Didn't, thankfully, because I'm here, unless you're talking to Jeff the Ghost. I mean, there's Force Ghost Jeremy, where there's, sick Ghost Jeff. But no, after a couple days of rest, I was able to enjoy Thanksgiving, Black Friday for the most part, which was a lot of fun. And I was finally able to get the game that everyone requested I play on the channel, Spider-Man. So for those out there that have wondered, Jeff, are you ever going to get Spider-Man? I got it. I've played it a little bit. It's fantastic. Thank you for your suggestions. But now we're here. We're back. While I was sick, I did film some more stuff for the channel. So there's a new video coming tomorrow. Be on the lookout for that. I also finally made it to the P.O. box. So take an illness to get me to the P.O. box. Hopefully that's not the case every time, but there was a lot of stuff at the P.O. box. So I'm going to make it an entire video dedicated to the P.O. box, and that should be coming your way either Wednesday or Thursday, depending on how I want to space it out. But I do want to say welcome, because we've had a huge number of new subscribers. We're talking like almost 400 in the last couple of days. So whatever's going on, we're back in the good graces of YouTube. So thank you, YouTube. We appreciate you. We appreciate everyone out there, and we'd like to say welcome to all the new listeners out there in the world of world-class bullshitters. So if you're new, if this is your first stream, this is Good Morning Pop Culture. It's a nice way to start your day if you're working and lurking at school or dealing with terrible weather out, west. This is the best way to start your day and get through it calmly and peacefully. And we talk about entertainment, and today we're going to be talking about a lot of entertainment. So we got two big pieces of Star Wars news. First up, this whole Luke was always meant to suck in The Last Jedi. Don't worry, I don't buy into this. It's more excuses from the Lucasfilm camp, but hey, what do you expect from Lucasfilm? Then we're going to talk about Oscar Isaac's senioritis comment. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Not because I dislike Oscar Isaac as a person. It's just that I thought it was a really poor choice of words. But we'll talk about that more later. We're also going to talk about the Lion King trailer, the Aquaman trailer, some Stan Lee news, and a few other things. So this is going to be a good way to get back into the swing of things here on Good Morning Pop Culture. So, as always, we have to wait till 200 viewers, but we're already at 188, so that gives me just enough time to read our super chats. First off, from our friend LSU fan Jeremy. Morning, Jeff. Swing a coffee for the morning, man. You know what? I like that. I'm going to take one right now. Let's see if you guys can hear it with me. Ooh, that's hot. That's hot. But thank you, LSU fan Jeremy. Next up, we have Grendel fan 84. Good morning, Jeff from Comics Elite. Good morning from Cincinnati, Grendel fan 84. By the way, folks, I got some comic book news to talk about, not just stealing Solo, but a lot of people were really receptive of me going out and filming on Black Friday for Good Morning Pop Culture, and I think I have one for this week. So keep a lookout for that information coming soon. And then finally from Chris Wicks from Down Under. Thank you very much, Chris Wicks. Sup, Jeff? Welcome back from your slumber. Happy TG. Posted a couple of things on the Facebook page you may want to like. Bring back the Good Morning Pop Culture Biff. Oh, man. I'm ready to bring back all kinds of stuff. I will check out the Facebook page. I've kind of taken a cleanse from the social media. A few of you may have seen me like a few things here and there. But there was a lot of sleep had from last Tuesday till now. And I feel reinvigorated, reawakened. That's a different type of awakening. But I feel great, and I'm so happy to be here. So now we're well past 200 viewers. Let me give a quick announcement. The High Council has changed this week. So I was sick. I didn't make it last week. Now this week, Jeremy is not going to be able to make it due to him being in transit. So I will be hosting it with myself, obviously, because I'm hosting it, Ethan, and our third man, Doomcock. So if you love Doomcock, well, Doomcock will be back on the High Council to fill in for Jeremy this week. So be prepared to hail Doomcock all night long, because we're going to have some fun talking about the crazy world of Star Wars, the crazy world of Ethan Van Sciver, and the crazy world of world-class bullshitters. So now that we are well past our 200 viewers, let's start today's first topic. So here is a man, a picture of a man, a broken man, a soulless man, Luke Skywalker. I can't keep that one up. I'm sorry. Luke Skywalker, that's Jake from State Farm Skywalker. Now, we have talked about excuse after excuse after excuse for Disney Star Wars here on the channel. You can go back and watch the videos that have been viewed millions of times. People have seen them. People know the old excuses. Well, now, here's a new excuse from just 3 days ago. So this information came from We Got This Covered, the website that I believe uses future sources as reputable sources. So it's pretty clear by now that Star Wars The Force Awakens and Star Wars The Last Jedi were products of two different visions. With Rian Johnson's sequel taking the saga on a divisive path after JJ's trilogy starter played things relatively safe. Nonetheless, the internet has a habit of going a little overboard in its narratives. And while Johnson gets a lot of flack for his surprising depiction of the years later Luke Skywalker, a new Twitter thread makes the case that the filmmakers' plan for that character wasn't the dramatic diversion from what Abrams had in mind. Lucasfilm creative art manager Phil Stozak, and when I see an S and a Z together, I really don't know what to do, opened his thread with some old concept art dated of 2013, which shows off a bearded Luke Skywalker and a not too far removed from Mark Hamill's appearance in The Force Awakens. Accompanying this photo is a quote from the design supervisor Christian Alsman. "My first image I made for Luke Skywalker. This was January of 2013. It was being described as a Colonel Kurtz type, maybe hiding from the world in a cave. I got a George Fabuloso on it to boot." So let me show you guys this so you guys can know. I think this looks more like Chris Pine than Luke Skywalker, but I could be wrong. Let me know in the chat what you guys think about all of this stuff. And let's stop looking at Jake and let's look at a concept for Luke. So there you go. But back to the article. Bet you never thought you'd see the day where the franchise's most famous Jedi draws comparison to the villain from Apocalypse Now. Anyway, Stozak goes on to share a couple more quotes from concept artist Doug Chiang, in which early plans for what would ultimately become The Last Jedi were laid out. At this point in the story, 30 years after the fall of the Empire, Luke has gone to a dark place. He always had this potential dark side within him, being that his father was Darth Vader, so he's really struggling with that. I'm sorry, this just isn't Luke Skywalker still, even in 2013. He ended up secluding himself in his Jedi temple on a new planet, and he's just there meditating, reassessing his whole life. Gradually, over the arc of the movie, he rediscovers his vitality and comes back to himself. If you didn't like Star Wars The Last Jedi before reading these quotes, then chances are your mind remains unchanged. But seeing how rough outlines of Luke's arc evidently existed years before The Force Awakens reached cinemas, surely there's only so much blame you can heap on Johnson. Nope. We can blame everything on Rian Johnson. Let's see, what can we blame on Johnson? Everything. He did it all. It was him, Austin. Wrestling joke aside, though, looking at this image right here, we see a man bun Luke Skywalker. Oh my god, he does have a man bun. Ew. I know some would say it's inspired by... I've seen Japanese art with those types of things. People say Star Wars is inspired by Japanese cinema. It is. Was it Akira Kurosawa films? Is it Hidden Temple or Hidden Fortress? Forbidden something else? Not Forbidden Planet. But I know there's a couple inspirations for Star Wars in those movies because one of them takes place, like this great battle takes place, but it's from the perspective of two, I don't want to say migrants because that's not the right word to say. Two, I don't know, lesser people of class, lower status individuals, like two servants or two slaves or whatever. They're watching these great warriors battle, and the movie, like C-3PO and R2-D2 are meant to be them, and they're our eyes into this world, but in reality, it's like Luke Skywalker. But when I see stuff like this, I can't deny it and go, oh, that was never the case. But let me analyze, or let me at least read the thing that makes me not believe all of this is, free from Rian Johnson. Gradually, over the arc of the movie, he rediscovers his vitality and comes back to himself. You see, a George Lucas concept like that, the 0 hour change, tricked you. See, Star Wars has the tricked you moment with Han Solo. You think Luke's down and out, I have you now. Nope, Darth Vader. Han Solo comes to save the day. I love those moments. Just like in Return of the Jedi, you think Luke has been beaten, the Emperor has electrocuted him, Vader has that internal moment of struggle, and then boom, Vader comes up and saves the day. Didn't see that one coming, boom, oh my god, greatest twist. Well, the other twist is better. But the point I want to make is, they're going back to the Luke Skywalker of old. They had plans all along. In this new Rian Johnson era, and it's really, I guess the phrase is, or the proper way to describe it is postmodern era, but I look at it as these nihilistic douchebag filmmakers. Because the world is not lost. There's no... it's a terrible way to look at life to say, well, there's no hope in the world. I just better give up and roll over. No, there's always a brighter tomorrow, depending on how you choose to look at life. And for some reason, all of the people that work on these great iconic franchises that get people through the dark times, that get people to look forward to the bright tomorrow, the people in charge of those are the nihilistic douchebag filmmakers that ruin it for the rest of us, and that ruin, because their names are attached to these big franchises and lower franchises want to copy them, they ruin it for everybody else. I find it odd that there's a possibility that Transformers, the newest one, inspires more hope and goodwill than the last Star Wars film. Because if you would go back to 2009, when the second Transformers came out, or anyone between that one and this newest one, Transformers were the trash franchise. They still are a trashy franchise. But nothing has done so much damage as Star Wars. And I don't mean just it pissed off the fans because it killed the EU, which, by the way, I picked up some EU stuff at my local half-price bookstore. I'll tell you exactly the titles later on. I don't know. They're in my car, so I can't read them off the top of my head. But not just that, but they've killed the way that films are, like the way it is acceptable for them to talk to the fans. And that's the stuff that Rian Johnson is responsible for. Look, if people involved with this movie would have just been like, it was a bad film, or we were like, it's a bad film, we don't like it for these reasons, and then the director goes, well, this is my artistic vision, agree to disagree, and then went silent on Twitter about the movie instead of trying to, pick out people left and right, well, I don't think you would have had the problems you'd have, and you wouldn't have had the Solo failure and all these other things. But the backlash is real because of him. So if anything, you want to take blame away from him, writer from We Got This Covered? No. More blame should be placed on him. The stupid idea would have been redeemed. It's hard to call something a stupid idea if they have a way out of it, to subvert our expectations. You think Luke Skywalker is no longer going to be Luke Skywalker, and then boom, one day, he just is back to what he was. We never got to see that in this last film, The Last Jedi. We got Jake from State Farm. And it really pisses me off. So let's hear what you guys have to say about this. Mareth Deoline says, hungover on turkey and dressing. Mareth Deoline, for the first time ever, we went to a restaurant for Thanksgiving because the way my family split up, my grandma had 7 kids. And so 2 of them died. 3 of them died, actually, now. And my 2 uncles, they just go to the wife's side. my aunt is not really capable of cooking more. She's in a wheelchair now, so she did whatever. And then that just left my mom. And we weren't going to just cook at home for the two of us. So we took my grandma, well, my mom's boyfriend took my grandma and us out to a nice dinner. So we didn't have any leftovers or anything like that. We ate, we enjoyed it, we had a great time, but there were no leftovers. And I didn't get to stuff myself crazy on stuffing, which I normally like to do. That is my guilty pleasure, stuffing. Eddie Max of Andor, thank you very much. Another article that says people do not have to take responsibility for the crap they put out. Well said. Why do these websites that really don't benefit go out of their way to defend Star Wars? Do they think that, I mean, I hate to get so controversial this early in the morning, but do they really think that they're on the right side of history in terms of Star Wars, so they're going to fight this good fight against the fans? Because if the prequels show you anything, the fans always win. And I'm not trying to say that because I'm a fan and I take pride in only winning. The reason I say that is the fans hate Jar Jar. What do we get in episode 2 of Jar Jar? He looks at the camera for 1 second and there's no Jar Jar outside of that opening scene and a few moments in the Senate. What do we get from Star Wars or from Jar Jar in episode 3? Barely anything. George Lucas at least had enough, is humility the right word to use? He had enough common sense to cut out the thing people hate the most. Porg sucked. All these things sucked. But they'll find a way to sneak them back in because Disney knows best, apparently. But the market knows best. And so next year, when all the unsold Last Jedi toys show up for pennies on the dollar, well, they already kind of did. But when they show up again, and there's a new mountain of Rose Tico figures, I guess we'll truly have the last laugh. Because Ethan can only support so many Rose Ticos in his home. I mean, the man has, 4,200? I feel like his foundation's going to give out if he has too many Rose Ticos in his house. But I don't know. The man knows no limit on pie. He knows no limit on Rose Tico. I let him live his life. He's my friend. I'm concerned for him. But he has to make his own decisions on both Rose Tico and pie. But back to what Eddie Max of Andor is actually saying. It's just a thing today. You have, if you put out a crap product that people don't like, well, people have to defend it on ideology, on identity politics. Like if my mom, just a plain woman, says, I don't like this new She-Ra Princess of Power, the animation looks stupid. You're going to have, let's say she had an online platform. You'd have 50 people come out and go, oh, well, it's not about the animation, it's what it represents, this, that, and the other. And no. I think a lot of it comes from the ease of social media access and the low entry point, because it costs nothing to run a social media campaign. It costs nothing to create stuff on social media. But when you have to put your money where your mouth is, then things kind of fall apart. If She-Ra Princess of Power was on network television or cable television, where ratings do matter and advertising slots matter, it can hide behind Netflix, because Netflix can get the brownie points and make all of its money on Orange is the New Black, or, well, whatever's left of House of Cards or Daredevil. It doesn't have to worry about those things. But you're always going to have these people coming out of the woodwork to defend it. And some would say, oh, that's great. We live in a society where the weak are defended. I wouldn't call Star Wars the weak. I'd call Rian Johnson the weak-minded fool that the Jedi mind trick works on, according to Jabba the Hutt. But I wouldn't call these big corporations the weak. I feel like a lot of people defend said big corporations because they think that they're, like I said, on the right side of something, so they take pride in winning. It's like these video game console wars. Your Xbox versus your PlayStation fans. Well, my system has this, and my system has that, and a lot of times people are just taking pride in knowing what piece of plastic what makes more money. I own a PlayStation 4. I don't take pride in that it sold 84 million units. I'm happy that I have access to a lot of good stuff. But when Sony makes stupid decisions like, oh, the new PlayStation Pro doesn't actually do 4K gaming, then I'm kind of like, what the hell? I'm happy with what I got, but I'm not going to make excuses. I'm not on Team Sony. I'm not on Team PlayStation. I buy PlayStation because I like it. I've had all of them. Multiple PlayStations sometimes. Multiple PS2s, PS3s, PS1s. Thankfully, only one PS4. But I don't, I don't put my self-worth, I don't put my self-image on those things like these people do. These writers, for months, you had Scott Mendelson and you had all these people coming out of the woodwork to defend every little thing about Star Wars. And for the most part, they were wrong about everything. Their industry experience, their years of this, their insider information was wrong. The fans got it. It was just something you could feel in the air. You just put your finger out and you taste it. There's something palpable about what was wrong. But we're all told everything's fine. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Okay. And so now we're here. And here's just one more thing. It's like they cannot let it go. As we're focusing on the holidays and, my comic and all these other things that, real life has to come up and deal with, you got these people saying, well, this is actually Luke Skywalker's real arc and you're wrong. It's like they can't let it go. They've been berated by the fans. People didn't buy the merchandise. The movie made $750 million less. It flopped in China. Solo flopped. All these things flopped for Star Wars. This was a terrible year for that franchise. And as we're ready to forget, they keep bringing it up. And it makes my heart sing that they're always scrambling for more excuses. It shows that us as a fan base, the fandom menace, whatever you want to call us, have been successful this year. And next year's the most important year because you got to keep them on their toes. And I'll say this too. I saw an article. It's not worth really referencing, but it was some blog talking about Star Wars Resistance finally passing the Bechdel test. And those people are going to tear apart Star Wars for other reasons. So if you try to make Star Wars progressive, you'll never make it progressive enough. It's like, well, we got a female lead. Okay, well, Star Wars has always had a female co-lead, Princess Leia. It's a three-act lead, or three-lead act, whatever. Well, now we have Rey, and she's better than everybody else. She don't need no man, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. I don't like the character for other reasons, but cool. So she's strong and independent. And then you move on to this, that, and the other. But it's never enough. There's just a few more things that these people always want. And it'll never be enough for those people. And then when Disney tries to appease us, the people that they are afraid they've lost, you will have these people that they tried to get in the first place. Oh, it's not enough for me. I'm not going to come there in the first place. So it's all just one big mistake. Mareth Deoline, thank you very much. We had a huge reunion and a cousin of mine who'd been missing for 30 years showed up at Thanksgiving dinner, just like a Hallmark movie. Mareth Deoline, did you write your cousin a limerick? No, but that's awesome. Like I said, my family's not like that at all. People will show up to Christmas. It's like, yeah, I haven't seen you since last Christmas. It's the same. No, but that's pretty awesome. I like family stuff. I'm not really as cynical as some people would like to believe I am. GrendelFan84, thank you very much. I believe these shill sites put out these fluff pieces primarily to get on the good side of Lucasfilm / Kathleen Kennedy in order to get exclusive news and interviews. That's probably it. GrendelFan, you're in business with Comics Elite. You know how business works. We all know to some degree how business works. That's probably the case. Not a good thing. Maybe this site is just looking for clicks. So it got it. I'm talking about it. I've talked about the website name. So maybe they'll make, $12 off of, me talking about it. Good for them. I am a firm believer in if every business does well, good for them. I don't have to take down another YouTube channel to succeed. There's billions of people out there. I'll be fine. That's my mentality. So while I don't want this website to go away, and I'm happy that they get their, click and their view and all that stuff, I don't trust them. And trust is very important for me. There are very few news websites that report entertainment that I can trust. I can't really trust a lot of stuff out of the UK because there's a certain slant. I don't trust the Hollywood. I trust these sites for one thing. When a report comes out, like Kathleen Kennedy signs on for 3 more years. When I see the Hollywood Reporter and Deadline and all these places cover it, I know it's factual. But when it comes to their opinion pieces, I guess you really can't trust an opinion. Let me rephrase it. I'm going to take that back, what I said a moment ago. You can't really worry about trusting an opinion, but I don't put much credibility into the person's opinion who writes it, who produces the article. Therefore, I don't look to them for anything but validation of a news story or a rumor, and that's about it. but I don't enjoy them. There's very few websites that I go read the articles on. I think websites are a dead thing. Maybe, to sell stuff is a good thing, and that's about it. So, Grendel fan, I'm with you there on that one, man. And I know a lot of people are here. We're still talking about Luke Skywalker and all that fun stuff. So let's talk about, the next Star Wars news article that, it's the one that kind of pisses me off more, if that makes sense. No, I have not seen the video about Mattel not supporting DreamWorks She-Ra, but I will check that out. I don't kiss companies' asses. You know that. I will take Hasbro to task, but I will also praise them for their Marvel Legends figures. They are fantastic toys, and I have a video coming out talking about the remnants of Toys R Us tomorrow. I filmed all the stores that had the buyouts from Toys R Us, what is left, but there's one thing you'll notice in the video, and I'll talk about it in the video. You won't see Marvel Legends anywhere. Why? Because the Marvel Legends toy line is the definition of a successful toy line in 2018. People say, toys don't sell. No, toys do sell. Just not the shit that we talk about. Star Wars toys don't sell. Certain DC Universe figures don't sell, but Marvel Legends figures sell. They sell to adults. That is why you make Jim Lee action figures, not of Jim Lee, but of designs he did for Marvel, and they're fucking triple in price now. Because they come out, people buy them up, and then they try to resell them because there's an emotional connection. Star Wars had the emotional connection that people, I'll use me as an example. I go to my Meijer, I see Luke Skywalker and Jedi Knight gear from a couple years ago. I buy it instantly. Dion was there. I was up in Michigan in about 2012 visiting Dion. May have been the time I went to see The Dark Knight. Almost the end of college, having fun, partying, doing my stuff. Nobody had kids yet. But I stopped to pick up Luke Skywalker, and Dion goes, "Ooh, that looks so cool." You hit that emotional, they resonate with you there. You could say it's nostalgia. You could say it's an emotional sell. But Star Wars has gone out of their way to take that, and when you think about it now, you're like, With Marvel, stuff like that, they're doing it right. Mattel does know, and here's the thing, Mattel does Barbie, Hot Wheels, WWE, DC. Certain toy companies are not afraid to play into the gender stereotypes that some people call them, and they will go out of their way to only produce stuff for toy lines that sell. And maybe that's what Mattel's doing. I'll have to look into it deeper, and I will talk about it on tomorrow's show. I'll actually take a screenshot of your message so I can, there we go, so I won't forget it. But that is something I would talk about here on the channel extensively. You guys know my take. I love my merchandise. I love my entertainment. I love my entertainment merchandise. But I have to see what's going on about that. If Mattel is not supporting it based on that, okay, cool. We'll find out, and I'll give you a little more detailed analysis. But until then, I have to wait and find out. But I'll check it out, I promise. So let's start talking about Princess Leia. Super Leia, Leia Poppins, rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. So, a couple of days ago, actually just on Saturday, this piece of information came out from Express. Again, another site I really don't trust per se. These are all rumors, but they do have an interview with Oscar Isaac, so they can't, unless they're going to make up a quote and really kill their credibility. I'll take this with a grain of salt, as always, from websites like this. Star Wars star Oscar Isaac has spoken about how Leia's story concluded in the upcoming movie. The iconic character will be seen one final time in an unused footage of the late actress shot for previous 2 Star Wars movies. And though plot specifics are being strictly kept under wraps for now, Isaac, who plays Poe Dameron, has teased a beautiful final appearance for Leia. Speaking to the Daily Beast about Fisher's sense of fun, he said, The story deals with quite a bit. It's strange to be on the set speaking of Leia and having Carrie not be around. There's definitely some pain in that. Despite the sadness, however, he revealed that there's a looseness and energy to the way that we're shooting this, that it feels very different. J.J. Abrams is back directing the film, and Isaac has spoken out previously about more collaborative, less rigid atmosphere on set. It's been really fun being back with J.J., with all of us working in a really close way, he reiterated. I just feel like there's an element, almost of senioritis, you know, since everything just feels way looser and people aren't talking and people aren't taking it quite as seriously, but still just having a lot of fun. I think that the energy is going to translate into a really great movie. He added, it deals with the amazing character that Carrie has created in a beautiful way. Mark Hamill will also be back one last time as Luke Skywalker, and the new film has been revealed to be the last in the Skywalker saga. He and Isaac will be joined by Daisy Ridley and the rest, which I'm not going to read. So, senioritis. He keeps using that word, but I don't think he knows what it means. I remember senioritis as just doing the bare minimum to get by after a certain point. You've done well on all your tests, and your finals won't determine if you graduate or not. That's where Disney is. They've made their money, and so, you know, in the opposite words of Deadpool, minimum effort. You're going to see, at least from what I'm guessing, you're going to see a slapdash Star Wars film. Oh, well, what are we going to do with the script? I don't know. Run at the camera screaming, ah, okay, ah. So they add in stormtroopers, this and that. They're going to try to make this one really, really funny. And if people out there say, well, Jeff, Return of the Jedi is a lot funnier than Empire Strikes Back. Well, yes. Step Brothers is a lot funnier than Terms of Endearment. Or you could take something even dry like 6 Degrees of Separation is funnier than Terms of Endearment. You know, you get these movies that are pretty stern and serious. And even Empire has one of the funniest moments in Star Wars, you know. I'm not a committee, or shut him up or shut him down. You know, Chewie take the professor back and hook him up to the hyperdrive. There are just jokes in that movie that work. Return of the Jedi has some jokes too. It's a lighter fare. I think a lot of times humor is used to disguise a problem, a lack of something. Well, at least I laughed, you know. Me personally, Jeff, when I want to watch Star Wars, I don't really watch it to laugh. I don't watch it to be moved to tears. I watch it to be entertained and engaged for 2 hours and change. Whatever the amount of time that Star Wars runs on screen, I watch those movies to enjoy myself. I don't really get that sense of enjoyment out of these movies. It's not about being on a pedestal to bitch about anti-identity politics in movies. Even if they weren't there, the movies aren't good. It just so happens that they're terrible movies with that in them. Now, I would rather see not necessarily a stern Star Wars movie. I want a sense of fun. I want a sense of, lighthearted adventure. But I want the actors to take it seriously. You know, you've seen the clip of Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Alec Guinness, and Chewbacca, Peter Mayhew. They're in the Falcon and they're shaking it, and then, Luke's shaking his head like, up and down and trying to be funny. Leave that shit for the cutting room floor. Leave that for behind-the-scenes image. That adds so much more when you see it years later. But when you see the film, they're acting. They're doing the best they can, and they made an instant classic. Oscar Isaac and the crew haven't made an instant classic, and J.J. Abrams never made a classic. He's the guy that's known for the twist. He's not even good enough to be Kmart Rod Serling. He's like broke dick, Sam's Club, Sam's Special Choice Rod Serling. And Sam's Club went out of business around me. So that's what I think of J.J. Abrams' quality of work. Not even good enough to be in business. But the Carrie Fisher thing, I think they're lucky. Look, and I don't want to say it in a mean way, but Disney was very fortunate from a PR standpoint that Carrie Fisher wasn't alive to respond to a lot of the garbage that was said publicly, because Carrie Fisher was a loose cannon. You couldn't control what she said. She didn't take shit from anyone. It's funny, people don't want to act like Princess Leia was this strong character for all these years and that Rey's the first one because you're 17 years old and an idiot, but not only did Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia do it, Carrie Fisher did it in real life to varying degrees of success, but she lived life on her own terms. She did exactly what she wanted, how she wanted. And that's admirable. Maybe the outcome was sad, but hey, she did it her way. And when I look back on Carrie Fisher, I don't say, oh, she was taken away from us too early, it was so tragic, blah, blah, blah. When someone's struck with an illness or something like that, you feel bad. I miss Princess Leia? Of course I do. But man, she partied hard. She lived her life. And she lived more in what? Was she 62 years old? She lived more in those years than most people do. So she will be remembered. She will be missed. But she did it her way. And I don't think that also turning this film into a memorial for Princess Leia is very smart. Because Star Wars is not the story of Princess Leia. It's the story of Luke Skywalker and Anakin Skywalker. And then Leia, realistically, she wasn't written as his sister. She was written as a love interest. It's a classic story. The love interest is whatever. But in Star Wars, she's the love interest with some sass and some gun skills and doesn't take shit from anyone. So that was different and cool. But she really does just stay the course. She doesn't have much character development outside of any, really. I can't think of how does she grow an empire, or how is she different? Let's see. I'm closing my eyes. I'm thinking. She's a leader in the first one. She's a leader in the second one. She's a leader in the third one. Okay, cool. She's sassy. She's sassy. She's sassy. Yeah, she doesn't really change too much. She's kind of the established one. Luke becomes a hero. Han becomes a hero from being a criminal. And Leia's always been a constant, which is cool. I believe that she would be the leader of the next rebellion if there was one, but I also believe she'd be diplomatic enough to not get them into this battle. She's lived it, she's seen it, she's watched her home planet get blown up into a billion little pieces, and everybody on board. But I don't think that Leia would have allowed them to get into this. I think she was savvy enough to know, or to see, what would be coming next. And because we, the audience, don't know how the First Order came to power, to mirror the Empire, to steal Star Destroyers and TIE Fighters and all these things, and we'll never know. Oh, Jeff, watch Resistance. No, I'm not going to watch Resistance. For as thin as the story was, you can watch the prequels and understand exactly what happened. Maybe the Clone Wars fleshes it out, but the story's there. There's no story in these new ones. It's just straight up, it happened. It happened over 30 years. Luke's gone, Han's gone, Leia's still there. And that is why people get pissed off about this stuff. And that is why people think that these movies, are disparaging towards men. They think that these movies are... Actually, they're disparaging towards women too, because they don't give them any meat. They just put them in the situation. And we all love to see somebody accomplish something great. Look at Rocky. Great story. We watch him go the distance, but we also watch him on each step of the distance. It's not like, there are montages, but the whole movie isn't, I start out one way and then I montage him at the end. No, it shows his ups and downs, the trials and tribulations. Rocky 2 and the montages and the next ones are like that. But the first one is all about being on the journey. That's important no matter what film you make. And the thing is, our Star Wars movies have always had that. We've always been on the journey with these characters. Not so much anymore. Things happen to sell toys, to sell merchandise, to get good points in articles on websites and in video games, but they don't. It's just problematic of all entertainment. It's problematic in all entertainment. Excuse me. The Pui says, "Good morning, Jeff. How was Thanksgiving?" The Pui, good morning to you, my friend. Thanksgiving was great. Like I said, we went to a restaurant this year for the first time, but it was a really nice, swanky place. So we all got dressed up and had a nice meal. Like I said earlier, though, I had been sick, really sick, like bedridden sick. I just was like exhausted. And, it was still nice, and I was still able to Black Friday shop and pick up the stuff I wanted. Maybe on my Tales from the P.O. Box video, I'll show you guys what I picked up on Black Friday. I picked up the prequel to Black Panther on Blu-ray finally, so that's exciting. We'll talk about that, though, later. I wanted to tell you guys. I'll give you a little snippet later on. So let's see what people also are saying about Princess Leia. Let's see, how do people feel? I really don't know what's going on with Star Wars Explained. Don't really watch it. Let's see. See you later, Todd Rector. She was empowered to strangle Jabba the Hutt. Yeah, she was. Yeah, she never cried on screen. Okay, here's a question, an honest question. What does J.J. Abrams actually contribute to Mission Impossible? Now, I'm not saying it to be on, I don't like Disney Star Wars. And I don't like J.J. Abrams that much. But there are things that he's been associated with that I'm fine with. But I don't consider him making anything instantly classic. With Mission Impossible, I consider 3 the second worst of the franchise. Second worst, excuse me. I don't know how I rank them properly, but 1 is one of my favorites. 4, 6, 5, 3, 2. I just thought 3 was pretty forgettable. I've watched it a couple of times, actually, and there's something off about it. Plus, it was the first one in, 6 years? Mission Impossible 2 is just shit. But I know Bad Robot produces, but I don't know how much input JJ actually has on each script. I always thought of that as more of a Tom Cruise and then the director type of movie. So if anybody wants to tell me more about what JJ brings to Mission Impossible, I'm more than interested to read it. I just don't really know what he does. Okay, so people are screaming he contributes nothing to the franchise. The chick from Mission Impossible 2 is really hot. Thandie Newton? Yeah, there's no debate about that. I actually had some odd interest in the girl from the new one. Was it Max's daughter? I was like, okay, cool. I like the new Mission Impossible. Sometimes a movie like that's not about world building, that's not about all these crazy interconnected stories. See, interconnected stories work for a few different genres. We're at a point now where everything tries to do it, more than just the shared universe, but the interconnected stuff. And I, for one, am just tired of it. So, that was Superfan Adam Shawhan honking by my house, huh? You know, Superfan Adam Shawhan, I wouldn't allow you to honk by my house. I'd stop you, bring you in for a cup of coffee, we'd play some video games. We'd stream together. Well, I'm glad you guys heard that. I live on a very shitty, busy street. Well, just because Mission Impossible was the best action movie of the year in a pretty shitty year doesn't make it that terrible. You put Mission Impossible up to this new one, up to anything except a John Wick in the last couple of years, and I'd still think Mission Impossible is very strong. I didn't see Death Wish, not because of some principles that I live by. I missed it. It came out in January? I was deep into this whole Last Jedi thing. I didn't leave the house very much in January. So, I missed that film. But overall, action movies are, doing all right, man. They're doing all right. I didn't set up a Twitch yet. I've streamed my PlayStation, though, here on YouTube, but I do need to set up a Twitch for that. Update, this comic is going really, really well. It's just, taking time. I understand what Ethan was going through now. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. I've heard about the Thought Audit. I have heard about the Thought Audit, but I didn't really look into it. That is a quartering story. I guess I don't really know enough about Magic the Gathering and stuff to actually cover it and have a frame of reference outside of, oh, this happened, ha ha ha, silly, rabbits tricks are for kids. That's all I could really say. So, especially coming off of sickness and the holiday and stuff, this week's going to be me covering, the stories that matter to all of us. But I'll look into stuff. I always want to entertain you guys, and I'll cover the topics that will entertain you. The best way to get me to cover stuff like that, honestly, is to shoot us an email, worldclassbs@mail.com, because it stays there in an inbox, and it's a lot easier for us to access. That way, when somebody's like, hey, Jeff, check this out, I'll click on it, and then if I click on it and read it and then forget about it or close out a tab, it's still in the email. Facebook's Messenger app is garbage, so just a heads up. Now, speaking of garbage, I'd like to talk about something else that I found to be pretty stupid. So, let me pull up an image for you guys first before I make you play the guessing game. Because, nostalgia is a powerful tool when used properly. And I think that this piece of nostalgia is being used improperly and very, very dangerously. So take a look at your screen, and for those listening to the audio version of this show, let me tell you what we're talking about. We're talking about a little film called The Lion King. Ugh. So, full transparency, I loved the original Lion King. Was it 94 when it came out? So I was 5 when it hit theaters. I was 5. Yeah. Or is Lion King 94? I was 6 at the end of 1994. Duh. Anyway, math. But Lion King and Aladdin were the 2 Disney films that no matter how old I got, I still appreciated them. I still enjoyed them. I grew up with this movie. I had the Super Nintendo game. Same with Aladdin. I had that Super Nintendo game. So, The Lion King always held a special place in my heart, and no matter how I felt about Disney... See, my journey with Disney isn't unlike a lot of people's, but at the same time, it's not like a lot of people's, where Disney wasn't really my childhood. I liked Marvel and DC and Warner Brothers cartoons way more. Disney movies were the thing my grandma would buy me, and that I'd have to watch at other people's houses because it was safe for the kids. And I was a smart kid. You know, by 5, I could read a lot better than... I could read better than everybody at school for the most part. Actually, for all of it, because I was tested in 2nd grade, and they're like, you have a high school reading equivalency and all this stuff. So it was cool. But Disney movies just didn't really hit with me. I wanted to watch other kind of stories. And I don't mean like adult films like, I don't know, The Juror or The Firm, but I wanted to watch shit like Jumanji or something with live action, with people, with different things. I felt, when I watched a movie with an adult in it, I felt, I don't know, smarter. But the Disney movies, really, I just veered off of them quickly. But Aladdin and Lion King always kept that special place. So when I heard they were remaking The Lion King, I rolled my eyes. And then I saw this trailer, and I rolled my eyes even harder. I have a much different stance than a lot of people. I know people are freaking out, and it's got 40 million views on YouTube with 1 million thumbs up and all that stuff. And good. I'm not saying that people need to go out there and thumbs down this trailer. But I am saying that this film does deserve an award. An award for the most useless remake of all time. Because they've taken the animated classic and they've reanimated it with CGI. So when people say this is the live-action Lion King, you say, no, shut your mouth. This isn't the live-action Lion King. This is the reanimated corpse of the Lion King with computers. They're using the same music, which I think is smart because that's iconic music. You really don't want to re-record the Circle of Life. But then I saw Hans Zimmer's associated with it, and I was like, ugh, no. But that's about the only positive I have to say. The cast, it's funny. As soon as it fades out from the word Lion King, or the Lion King title card, it says Donald Glover, and I went, nope, no thank you for playing, I'm done. And then I saw a couple names I didn't care about, like John Oliver. But then I saw Beyonce Knowles Carter. So, I'm not a Beyonce fan, but Beyonce is in that rare category that she's a one-name person. Cher, Madonna, Beyonce. Who else is just that one-name person? You know, Frank Sinatra was one of the all-time great singers, but he's just Frank Sinatra. Pee Wee Herman has to be known as Pee Wee Herman because it could be Pee Wee football in the other case. But you take away being known as this one-name diva. Now I'm Beyonce Carter Knowles, or Knowles Carter. Cool. You want to use your maiden name and your married name? Fine. But again, I don't think of Jay-Z as Sean Carter. I think of, it's Jay-Z. I know that's a weird thing to comment on, but I was wondering, like, what is the purpose of that? What is the purpose? I don't get it. I don't like it, but whatever. There we are. But I do have another positive thing to say about this trailer. It's the fact that James Earl Jones sounded fantastic. Now, I don't know if this was a re-recording or if it was the original from 1993, I guess is when they recorded it. But it pissed me off how good it sounded because of how bad Darth Vader sounded in Rogue One. I guess the audio engineer was either, drunk or just stupid, but Darth Vader sounds like shit in Rogue One, but James Earl Jones, pronouns pal, sounds fantastic in this Lion King trailer. So I wish that the Lucasfilm crew put as much effort into the other Disney products, because the lack of quality in Star Wars movies makes me think all Disney shit is just that, shit. I could be wrong, could be right. You can watch and find out for yourself. I will not ever watch this movie. The only way I would see this movie is if I was on a date or I had a child that really had to see this. And then I would lie to the kid and say, hey, we're going to watch Lion King at home. I got it right here, kids. And they'd watch the movie. It wasn't the same one. Oh, that's a commercial. It's different when you see the real movie. I'd come with some bullshit excuse. Okay, I probably wouldn't. I'd take them to see the movie and I'd just suffer. But I'd want to get a used Blu-ray and I'd want to trick them, but it's just not in my nature. But, people are going nuts about this trailer. Cool. I don't want to take away people's excitement, but I don't have to feel excited like you do. Neither do you. If you're happy about this and you're a fan of this channel, cool. We're still friends. We're still buddies. You can still come over and honk your horn. I'm going to wave. I'm going to drink my coffee. I'm going to go back into the house and work on the comic. But if you dislike this trailer, if you dislike what Disney represents, if you dislike what constant remakes represent, well, then we're on the same page and we can have another discussion at a later date about how the lack of creativity is truly damaged in Hollywood. You know, I was watching a documentary. I don't normally watch documentaries. I don't normally get artsy. Normally, I'm consuming stuff for the channel, and that's about it. But Saturday, before I went to Starcade, I had a couple hours. So I was eating this grapefruit, and yeah, it takes a couple hours to eat a grapefruit when you're me. And I was looking at this documentary about Orson Welles and his last movie. And it talked... I don't really know much about Orson Welles outside of War of the Worlds and Citizen Kane, which I still haven't seen. I think at this point, it's a choice not to watch it. I have no interest in it. I have no interest in watching that or 2001: A Space Odyssey because people tell me how great it is. And the people that tell me that, I don't really like. So I don't think I can go in and give those movies a fair shake because I think about the douchey people that I don't like. And that, therefore, maybe part of me psychologically doesn't want to validate them as having good taste. Or another part of me doesn't want to discredit the movie because of my opinions of said person. Odd way of telling you stuff about me, but either way, you know the truth. But Orson Welles was a name I knew, but I didn't know much about the man besides he was fat and he got drunk on a pea commercial. And yes, look it up, PEA commercial. So, I'm watching this documentary about this film, The Other Side of the Wind, this vanity project that he never made, that never got done. But why I'm bringing it up now is at least it was something different. You know, the guy was revolutionary in some of his things, and he wanted to do something revolutionary and new again. Nobody wants to do anything revolutionary and new. People want to do remakes, people want to do these really basic, easy things, and I know you want to make money in Hollywood. I get it. Everybody wants to make money. I do, you do, your mom does, your grandma, your uncle, Charles or Bill, your choice. But they all want to make money, they all want to live, they all want to do their thing. But sometimes taking a creative gamble really pays off. And I want to see a creative gamble taken. I want to see somebody with some status try something different. I'm not saying it needs to be some avant-garde white noise movie or something stupid like that. But just tell a new story. Hell, it could be the hero's journey. Just put it under a new lens. Don't adapt something else. Make something else. Star Wars was made from other parts of other things. It was a Frankenstein movie. Do something like that. Just do something to capture the imagination of the world. You know, Wreck-It Ralph is a sequel. Creed 2 is a sequel. They made money at the box office. Good for them. Wreck-It Ralph, I have no interest in. Not even for the princess joke or any of that stupid crap that people are praising on these Mary Sue type websites. I just didn't like the first one enough to give my money to the second one. I will wait for the Super Mario Brothers movie. I will play video games. I will do those things if I need to get my fix of video game nostalgia or references. I mean, hell, if you want video game nostalgia, just go to YouTube after you're done here and type in anything, and you'll find some way to get to a video game documentary. But Lion King, all these things are just remakes, reboots, reimaginings, retreads of, well, I don't want to say retarded ideas just to fit with the but you get where I'm going. I wasn't pleased with this. Some of you may be. Cool, more power to you. If you got a wife that wants to see it, you got kids that want to go see it, a nephew, somebody, go enjoy your time with your family. Do what you got to do. Don't worry about, appeasing everybody out there. But from my standpoint, it looks like shit. It smells like shit. It probably is shit, so I will not be watching it ever for the channel. Ref Dealine, thank you very much. Just a reminder, Tombstone Watch Party whenever you're free. Ref Dealine, you, my friend, will be the next on the watch party. Now, this coming Saturday, the 1st of December, 2018, at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, is our all-day Star Wars stream. I believe that A New Hope's been taken. All the films have not been taken. The thing is, it's a patron hangout. So if you're a patron, if you want to join our Patreon page, up until Saturday, if no one's claimed your spot for Attack of the Clones, Jonathan, whatever your name is, Jonathan Jalavia, well then you can be on it with us and hang out and shoot the shit for the whole movie. So how it works is we will start we'll start the Phantom Menace at 10 a.m. with a patron. If not, whatever. If you want to join, great. If you don't, just listen to us talk about Star Wars. And then we'll take a little break in between the movie for like 2 to 3 minutes. The patron will bow out. We'll invite the next patron in. We'll go to Attack of the Clones. We're doing episodes 1 through 6 only. We're not doing 7, 8. We're not doing Solo. We're not doing Rogue One. None of that stuff. Only the original George Lucas era Star Wars movies. And we're going to stick to talking about Star Wars. It's going to be a very fun, geeky, nerd out type of day. So if you're really interested in having some Star Wars fun, this coming Saturday, the 1st of December, 2018, is your day. This automobile is for you. Let's see. Alpha Terranima, thank you very much. Do you think Disney will be shameless enough to live-action remake Atlantis while slamming Cameron is making us countless Avatar sequels? No, Alpha Terranima, I think they make the live-action versions of films that made a bunch of money that were successful. So you'll never see a Black Cauldron remake live-action. I'd like to see if Disney wants some of my respect, and again, who am I to them? Well, dangerous force. Just joking. I would like to see Disney put out something that's not so saccharine and bland. You know, a little, not gore, but a little bit of scare. Remember being a kid and you'd watch like Pee-wee's Big Adventure and you'd be afraid. Oh man, that was scary when Large Marge's face, did all that shit. Those moments are fun. You gotta hit all the emotions in a movie. Laugh, sadness, happiness, scared, all those things. Hit all, the gamut of emotions. I like that in a movie. You're scared in Star Wars when, the interrogation droid's coming at Princess Leia and the fucking needle's coming into the camera. You're like, oh my god, what happens? Boom, door shuts. You'll never know. Or you're laughing when, they save her from the cell bay and all that stuff. But I don't think they'll ever do an Atlantis remake, because wasn't Atlantis a flop? Let me look that up real quick so I can give you an honest answer to back up what I'm saying. So, let's see. Atlantis. Lost Empire, that's a 2001 Disney film. Michael J. Fox. Oh, man. Love Michael J. Fox. Hey, Jim Varney was in that, too. So it's got a 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb. The movie made... no, it wasn't a hit. $90 to $120 million was the budget, and it made $186 million worldwide. So I guess that is a flop. That's sad, too, because it looks cool. I never saw it, but Mike Mignola, the comic book artist, was involved with it somehow. And Corey Burton, the voice of James Bond Jr., was in it. So, no, I don't think they'll do that, but you'll see a lot of James Cameron crap, and I just... I respect his early work, and I don't know him as a person. Maybe he's done a lot of good stuff, but I'm just not a James Cameron fan. I don't like anything he's done since True Lies. That includes Titanic. Sorry, soccer moms that listen to World Class Bullshitters. I know you're going to stop sending the cookies and all that stuff, and, I'm sorry that you won't, because I really enjoy your company. But I can't get behind Titanic or Avatar, and he really hasn't done anything else since then, so I'm not a Cameron fan. Let's see. Grendel Fan 84. Ooh, there are 3 points. That Wells documentary is amazing. 2, 2001 is overrated. Led Zeppelin's Laser Light Show. 3, check out John Candy's Orson Welles impression. Hysterical. Let's see. I haven't finished the documentary, but from what I saw, I'm loving it. So we agree on point 1 and 2. Check out John Candy's Orson Welles impression. I will. I love John Candy. When we watched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles for the channel the other day, I was thinking, man, John Candy, what would have been next for him after Wagons East? Where would comedy be today if John Candy and Chris Farley and Phil Hartman were still alive? I'd say for Hartman and Candy, they would have moved to dramatic roles successfully, because there was always, no pun intended, a lot of heart with their characters, especially... Well, not Phil Hartman doesn't have as much heart in his characters. Excuse, again, the pun was not intended. He was more of a cynical, dark, evil guy, and I loved him, especially on Third Rock from the Sun, when he kidnapped Harry. Good episode. But John Candy with Uncle Buck and his emotional speeches and his Chet character from The Great Outdoors, he was already kind of there, and I think the older he got, he would have become more... He would have just done more, serious roles. He would have lost the weight, especially in today's... look at John Goodman. John Goodman used to be a big dude. Lost a lot of the weight. Thin, healthy, looking different, but still, good. So, that's what I think they would have been, to answer my own question. But hey, it's Good Morning Pop Culture. I get one of those every once in a while. Chris Wicks, thank you very much again from Down Under. Do you think that we are retconning all these movies and TV shows to fit current identity politics? Yes, I do. I do 100%. It's an easy money grab. It's a way to appeal to people. And it works with kids' movies and entertainment that you liked as a child, because it doesn't have as much depth or the fan base following is a lot different. Maybe Disney's idea of, updating the Lion Kings to have more black actors do voices. I didn't know. See, the thing is, I find when they do stuff like that to be more racially insensitive, because I didn't know a lion in Africa has to have a black voice. Why is Matthew Broderick's voice any less credible for a fucking lion that's not, it goes, roar, that's it. It just roars. An African lion, or if there are lions from other parts of the world, all they do is roar. They don't talk. They don't have an accent or a slang. They just roar. So if you're able to buy into a talking lion, it doesn't have to have a black voice. This isn't, animals are animals. I think lions have like pink skin and brownish fur, and they hang out in the grasslands and eat. That's what they do. They don't go on riverboat gambling trips. They don't make their own beef jerky. They just exist to eat. And I find it funny that when they try to update these movies, the way they're updating it is by giving, a black cast is doing the voice. Or wasn't Nathan Lane, or no, who did the voice of Zazu, the bird? Whoever did it did a better job than John Oliver, because John Oliver sucks. I don't even care about his politics. He's just not funny. He has no delivery. He's like British Jimmy Kimmel, useless. So you're going to have these other people come in, like, okay, Whoopi Goldberg. Why wasn't Whoopi Goldberg hired back? She was one of the hyenas, and she was great. And she fit into the whole narrative of a new black cast. The nice part is they kept James Earl Jones, because you can't, black, white, or any color in between, no one has a cooler voice than James Earl Jones. Nobody. No one. The thing is, the people don't really worry about the racial politics, because if somebody said to you, you can have James Earl Jones, Keith David, or Morgan Freeman narrate your voice or your life, you're not going to say, where are my other alternatives? Where's the racial diversity? They're three black dudes with kick-ass voices. I don't give a shit what color they are. No matter who produces those voices, doesn't matter. It's the voice that matters to me. And they were smart enough to keep James Earl Jones around, because you can't replicate that. Nobody has that kind of power. And for someone to bitch like, Hooper X in Chasing Amy, who bitches about Darth Vader being white underneath the mask or whatever, I know that kind of stuff is written as a joke. But that's where we are as society. Before it was just meant to be funny in the 90s. Now that is what people consider serious. And I think I need to write a story about these people that are so extreme that get taken seriously. They get some power and everything collapses. Maybe that could be another story idea for down the road. But Chris, that is a reason. Number one, paramount above all is money. People want to make money. Like Vince McMahon says, it's all about the money. Well, when there's no more money to be made in remakes and identity politics, they'll move to something else. So, folks, you know how to beat Disney. I don't even need to say it. David Hervey, thank you very much. That's why I like anime/manga. You can tell a lot of them nowadays build off of DBZ and make their own stories. Their creativity in Hollywood is sad. David, I'm glad you brought up Dragon Ball Z. I don't talk about anime much, not because I dislike it, but because I haven't watched a bunch that I love. But for some reason, I've really been on this Japanese kick lately. So, I got Metal Gear Solid 2 again, and I've been really into Kojima stuff in this, what is his name? The guy that does the artwork, Yoji Shinkawa, I think is his name. I've been really consuming a lot of Japanese entertainment. But I went to Phil's house, the doctor, on Black Friday, and he's like, he bought this soundbar, this $1,000 soundbar. I'm thinking, okay, I gotta see this thing. And he puts on Dragon Ball Z, the Blu-ray, and we watched the episode where Cell gets defeated. And I was like, wow, this looks great, this sounds great, and they got the American voice actors. I kind of need to get into Dragon Ball Z. So I want to get those DVD sets, they're the Blu-ray sets, the newest ones, to watch just for fun. I can't give you guys a review of every Dragon Ball Z episode. All I can give you guys is a nice summary of why I like the show. But I do look to Japanese stuff. Not necessarily the music, because I don't get behind the J-Rock or J-Pop or whatever. But I look at that stuff as nice stories that have finite amounts of episodes. They end, people get inspired, and then they go off and do new shit. That's what I wish we would do here in America. More stuff like that. But yeah, plus, the competition's higher over there in Japan in terms of the manga market. You know, it's a really big pastime in Japan, and then French comic books are more respected than American comic books. It's weird how we have the biggest characters, but we're also the biggest joke in terms of comic books. You know, the American comic book, the comic book was created in America, not the comic strip, not this and that. But the Famous Funnies is considered the first comic book. They took newspaper strips and put them in a book and sold it for 10 cents. So they consider the comic book one of the great American art forms like jazz. It's in a documentary. That's not me saying that as my, you know, I'm trying to sound prolific. It's just something that's in a documentary from like PBS. So I guess if Ken Burns directed it, I'm going to say it as fact, as scripture. But, you know, other places just have better things. And thankfully with the internet, you don't have to buy your local Marvel DC swill. You can go get manga imported. You can go to your Barnes & Noble. You can go to your local comic book store and get it there. You know, you can read this stuff, and you can get involved, invested in those stories, and go create your own. You know, I'm thinking, okay, so I'm talking about Stealing Solo all the time. I'm deep in the process. I'm loving it. I'm having so much fun because, you know, the first couple pages are exposition and dialogue, and you got to get to the story because, guys, story's the most important part. I don't have these giant action scenes of, you know, 2-page spreads and shit like that to open the story. You got to get to where we are, why we're here, so you understand the entire story and the jokes. But I'm finally getting past the point of that, which is just the first couple pages. I've done other pages out of order as well, but, you know, I'm trying to do these in a certain order, and I'm having so much fun, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because I figured out what my next story is going to be. It's not going to be anything I've ever talked about. I've come up with the concept privately, but I'm inspired by a lot of Japanese cartoons, comics. It's not the style I'm going to draw in, but it's these big, sprawling, epic stories that are inspiring me. I picked up some old French comic books, some of these other old heavy metal magazines, things like that. It's a very sci-fi friendly story, but it's a kind of personal story that resonates with everybody. If you're excited for Stealing Solo, keep the excitement high. You'll love it. You'll have fun with it. The next one is going to be something completely different. You know, no Monty Python reference intended. And then we'll move forward. But here's a trick to learn something about me. Listen to the stuff I'm watching and playing, what I'm doing. I mention it like, oh, I picked up this, or I'm doing that, or that. There are reasons why I consume what I consume. So play a little game amongst yourselves. Try to figure out what's Jeff going to work on next? What's he doing? What's he trying to tell us? I'm always telling you guys hints. I've laid out hints for stuff a lot that no one ever picks up on. People pick up on some of the other things I talk about, but they never get the hints for, like, you know, there's a lot more than meets the eye with what I tell you. So just be on the lookout. You'll figure out possibly what I'm working on next. Get excited is all I can say. Chris Wicks wanted to say that as Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean was the voice as you. Well, Chris Wicks, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, Rowan Atkinson's awesome. I want to see Johnny English 3, not because it looks amazing, just because I've seen the other two, and I like James Bond parodies. Alpha Terranima, thank you very, very much for your generous super chat. Do you think the next remake trend will be redoing shit reboots / remakes by the generation that was introduced to those entries, similar to the 80s revivals of 50s or the current 80s ones? Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, I think that'll happen, but also there'll be a problem because the people that were making... Look, entertainment was held to a different standard back in the day. By the time we got to the 80s, the commercialism of the 80s, the excess of the 80s, you had people that had training, that had made other things. It's a lot like art. You know, some of the people that have the training, like Anna from that Star Wars girl, she's got this training. She does great stuff. If she goes out to do more commercial stuff, she's going to have success because she's had all this training. She knows what to do. Nowadays, with movie making, people just kind of do it, and a lot of times a studio has an IP that they want to take a gamble on. They hire someone that's cheap and inexperienced. They can kind of lump it on them if it fails. I think we'll see a generation of that, but I also think they'll always be lesser because, like, they're trying to remake Scarface with Diego Luna. Not gonna work. Scarface was already a remake of a 1930s film, but the 80s one's the iconic one. Say Hello to My Little Friend, all the shit Pacino says is just great. You know, the world is yours on the blimp, the music, push it to the limit, the montage, the violence, the gore. You can't mimic that. And if you do, all you're going to do is be mimicking that. It's just an homage to what came before. You can't really add upon it, or build upon it. You can't expand it. So when you go to redo all of these things, you're just going to make lesser and lesser movies. John Carpenter went to film school. He had life experience. He had made multiple films before he got around to doing The Thing, the remake of The Thing from Another World, the old Howard Hawks movie, which is an adaptation of the book, I think, Who Goes There? So, or the story. So you have these people that have this experience, that have these things, that make these new iconic things. You can't really update the iconography. You can't add to it. There's nothing to add. We've been blown away. You know, The Thing, they tried to remake / do a sequel, or excuse me, a remake / prequel to it by calling it The Thing, which leads up to the original one from the 80s. Well, that remake. But it pales in comparison. It has nothing to add. You can't remake Wayne's World. Wayne's World is a product of the 1990s America, the MTV generation reaching a certain point, the grunge rock counterculture movement, all these things. There are certain movies that take place in a time that can't be remade. Like Back to the Future really can't be remade. It's the timeless, perfect movie. It takes place in 1985. It was made in 1985. It's completely accurate. Everything is time perfect. They go back to the 50s, and it's removed from whatever. It's 30 years back. If you go back 30 years to 1988, let's say Back to the Future, the remake came out today. It goes back to the year 1988. First off, it's just going to be a throwback. Look at The Goldbergs is a nice homage to 80s pop culture, but it's done in a tongue-in-cheek way. It's anachronistic at times. There are actually mistakes at times. For example, Adam talks about how he was playing Super Mario Bros. 3, which came out in 1990 in America. Oh, but it was released in Japan in 1988. Well, little Adam Goldberg in Jenkintown, Pennsylvania, wasn't playing it in 1988. And there are anachronisms all the time. So my point is, a Back to the Future remake, a thing that's a time thing, is just going to become an homage or reference the movie. Like, hey, I'm playing E.T. on Atari, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that in 1988. It's like, dude, nobody was playing that in 1988. People were playing Mario and Zelda and all these other games. You know, it's just going to be reference the movie. Basically, if you remake Back to the Future, it's Ready Player One. Now, I liked Ready Player One because it was an adaptation of a book. It was different, something I hadn't really seen in a movie. But overall, it lives and dies by its references. You can't remake certain things like that. No more revivals. You had your 50s revivals of things like, okay, let's say I'm a filmmaker. That could happen down the road. I make films. You look at somebody like John Carpenter that makes a Christine or does these things that are, he was into music and car culture of the 50s and whatever, stuff like that. What did I grow up liking? Well, that's kind of hard because I grew up liking shit from the 80s. But if I look at stuff that I was passionate about in the 90s, the Nickelodeon era, stuff this like that, you might get a guy like me who is passionate about it, to make something true to it because I like it. If you get me to make something about the 70s, it gets weird. That's what I'm trying to get at. Eddie Max Vandor says, Rafiki forever! I like Rafiki. I like The Lion King, man. I'm not going to shit on it just because they've ruined Star Wars. It was good for what it was. I've seen it too. I had a cousin that came to stay with us I would have been the summer of 1996. Yeah, the summer of 96 during the Olympics, because I remember he got a Dream Team jersey, Grant Hill, and he stayed with us. But he watched The Lion King every night. Like, I would go to bed, and he'd be like, watching The Lion King. And I'm like, that's cool, man. You watch whatever you want. But every night it was The Lion King. And then he would start quoting it. And I was like, dude, what? So I've seen The Lion King way too many times, especially in the year of 1996. That was right before I discovered Star Wars, too. Like, he had gone home, and then I found Star Wars, and then, boom, dude couldn't tolerate me, because all I wanted to do was talk about Star Wars. I wish you guys could have met, like, 8-year-old Jeff when I first got into Star Wars, or, 7-year-old Jeff. My God, was it so cool. I thought it was, like, the greatest thing ever. I thought it was brand new, too. Like, I knew it hadn't just come out, but it was new to me. And I was like, yeah, Star Wars, so what? I was like, how do you not know? Grindlefan84 says, thank God Bob Gale and his estate will never allow a remake to happen. Yes, thank God for Bob Gale's estate. The sanity of Robert Zemeckis. You know, you can make more Superman movies, you can make more Batmans, you can make more Spider-Mans, but you can't ever recapture the magic of certain eras. You know, some people, you can't recapture the magic of Christopher Reeve. You can't recapture the magic of Christian Bale for Batman or Michael Keaton or all those things. And you can never recapture the magic of Back to the Future because it's about everyone involved with those films. It's Michael J. Fox in his prime. It's Christopher Lloyd. It's Leah Thompson. It's all these people doing these great things, and you can never recapture it. Plus, like Ghostbusters, the movie means so much to so many different people. Oh, I'm going to make a woman as the lead in a time travel movie. Who gives a shit? It's just a woman in a time travel movie. It's not Back to the Future. You know, the identity of the movie is the movie itself. You can't take and try to change it and recapture that and make another $1 billion off of the franchise. You never will. Back to the Future, the only thing left to do is re-release it every 5 years in theaters, get the cast and crew together every 5 years to go on the Today Show and talk about Back to the Future at 40, Back to the Future at 45, 50. Hopefully they're still alive and they can continue to do that. You can merchandise it. You can put out more DeLorean toys. You can put out some more hot toys of Marty McFly and Doc. You can expand upon that. I'll buy a Biff Tannen action figure. That's it. That franchise has run its course. Like Indiana Jones has run its course. You will try because it's Disney and Lucasfilm and they will run anything into the ground. But that too has run its course. Star Wars was a little different. Because it's not about a small group of characters played by the same actors exclusively, you could do more with it. But again, they ruined it somehow. So the remake trend will end, no rhyming intended. And that's a good thing for me. I don't need to see remakes of anything. Even bad movies like Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. Their identity is that they're bad, and they work because they're bad, and you watch them because they're shit. You know, there's a reason why The Disaster Artist only was so much of like reshoots of The Room. It worked, but the story behind The Room was more compelling. I didn't really want to watch 2 hours of Tommy Wiseau as James Franco's Tommy Wiseau reenacting all the scenes, because the original's better. Because those people tried. I don't know if that's a good way to say it, but those people, there's a genuine emotional attempt at acting. I can't even try to pull that one. Fuck. The Room is terrible. That's why it's great. There you go. There's the logic behind it. Go watch The Room. Go buy The Room. Tommy Wiseau is the fucking man. Grendel-fan84, thank you very much again. Speaking of magic, I saw Superman with Christopher Reeve in theater yesterday, and my God, talk about magical. I got misty-eyed during certain scenes. Was it the scene where he waves to the camera and flies off? Because that's my favorite part of those movies. It's just like, man, Superman's real, and he's going to watch your back. I might, if I haven't missed out, I'd love to go check that out in theaters. Now, Grendel fan, my relationship with that movie is not like a lot of people's. I didn't see it when I was super, super young. The first superhero movie I ever saw was Batman. I even think I saw The Shadow before I saw Superman. I didn't catch Superman till around 97, 98. That was during my Star Wars craze. So other movies were good, but I didn't care about them as much. And I liked Superman the character well before I saw the movie. I grew up with The Death of Superman. I had that Kenner collection from 95 where Superman had the mullet. Like, I have the mullet Superman action figure. It's an okay shape, but I have good feelings towards it. But when I do watch Christopher Reeve Superman, I have a massive amount of respect and care for him as Superman. He's still what I would consider the first, my Superman. Like, if I can only pick one, he is my favorite. But the first one I ever saw was Dean Cain, and I still like Dean Cain. And the first one I think I connected to was the Tim Daly Superman voice in the animated series. But there is a level of magic. Guys, I've said it before, and realistically, you guys can mimic this in anybody that wants to be creative. When you have a love, when you really try and care about a project, your comic, your fan fiction, anything, the care and the amount of time you put in comes out of the page, comes off of the page again if it's a book, out of your voice, anything. If you care, that's where the magic comes from. When you get all these people on the same wavelength, the same frequency, their goal is to make the best of anything. Batman the Animated Series, I read the preface to you guys all the time. We came together to want to make the ultimate version of something. Well, they did. Superman, they wanted to make this perfect, timeless Superman movie. For the most part, they did. That is where the magic of these movies work. When you have Star Wars, when you have these other things, oh my God, the Sony movies, when you try to put a different identity into these movies and make them something that they're not, well, then you fail, and you have the bigger problems arise. So, Grendel fan, I am happy that you got to go see Superman on the big screen. I'll get goosebumps if I ever go see Superman on the big screen, because when the music hits, best superhero theme of all time. Maybe not my favorite superhero movie, but no theme in terms of superhero films top that. Batman, great, not that great as Superman. When I heard the do in Justice League, I was like, yes, because that song represents Superman at a much better time. And finally, we were going to get that in the Justice League, and I thought that was kind of bringing back, like, hey, they get it. Superman's not this dark, depressing asshole. We're going to make him light and fun and happy. Oh, shit, yes, the song's back. Hopefully we get it out of Henry Cavill. They missed the mark, but they were still close enough that it was better than BVS and Man of Steel. Now, speaking of better than BVS and Man of Steel, let's talk about today's final topic, the Aquaman trailer. Now, you guys know about my history with Aquaman. There is none. I don't like the character that much. Don't dislike the character, though. That's the thing. Jason Momoa as an actor, I'm very cool with. I like him. I think he's funny. I think he brings a level of, I don't want to say badassness to it, or badassery, because I feel like that's a coverall phrase that really shows a lack of, I don't know. I'm just having trouble vocalizing my thoughts about Jason Momoa. He has a presence about him that I'm cool with. I feel like a lot of male characters need to have a presence. The James Bond adage, women want to be with them, men want to be them. That is, to me, the perfect way to get a timeless male character that people look up to. You don't even have to look up to Aquaman, but just there's something cool about Jason Momoa. Be it if you like him from Game of Thrones, Conan the Barbarian, whatever you like him in. I think Jason Momoa is fine. I thought he was one of the best parts of Justice League. He was funny. When he was sitting on the lasso of truth, I loved it. I thought that was one of the best parts of the whole movie. Now, let's check out the... I'm talking about the trailer for a moment. Because I saw the trailer. It came out the other day. It's doing all right. It has, let's see. It has 8 million views, 8.7. It's not anywhere near. It's a fifth of what the Lion King trailer had. So let's hope that the Lion King doesn't do 5 times the business that Aquaman does. Now, I will say this. Impressive was the word that I thought when I saw the trailer. The visuals, the setting, everything looked cool. It looked like a nice breath of fresh air from the dirty, dark DC garbage that we've been ingesting for the last couple of years. Even Justice League was too dark for my liking. Batman lives in a gray world. Fine, cool. Superman lives in a bright, colorful world. Zack Snyder doesn't understand that. And now, believe me, I know that DC has shit the bed, but the previous bias aside, I thought that this trailer delivered. And now what I want more than anything else in entertainment right now is I want for DC to have 2 big hits with Aquaman and Shazam. I want Marvel to have a flop with Captain Marvel, and I want Sony to pull their agreement with Spider-Man, because I want to see Disney scramble. I want to see all these other studios out there scramble to come up with the next big thing. I want them to inject some unpredictability into this era of movies, because everything is, back in the day it was see the movie, buy the soundtrack, eat the Taco Bell. Okay, fine, we all did that, and then it was the Burger King. And then we stopped buying the soundtrack, we downloaded the single. Things changed. Then it was see it in 3D, see it in IMAX. Okay. Now where it's see the movie and then buy it on Blu-ray 3 months later. And then soon it'll be see the movie, buy the movie in the lobby after you see it. Blah, blah, blah type of thing. These movies become disposable. It's no longer about... The weird part is, as everyone tries to develop a back catalog of streamable movies that people will pay for endlessly, they forget to make a movie that stands the test of time. Grendel fan, you saw a 40-year-old movie in Superman the other day in theaters. what movies out there today are so good that they can be consumed years, decades later? Like I said, I don't know if I told you guys this, but I recently watched The Dark Knight Rises, and I enjoyed it. It's a lot better than I have given it credit for in the past. But I do not think it will stand up in 30 plus years. Why do I say that? Well, I feel like the film is too much of an Occupy Wall Street film where we're not there as a country anymore. Nolan was trying to say something at the time, but it's incredibly dated. You know, the Batman stuff works, but Bane's whole, I'm taking it back and giving it to the people, like all that shit, that just doesn't work in today's climate. It's dated itself. Superman, not so much. But these people don't ever think about the long term. I mean, if I had, like, I don't know what Lucas's intention was to tell, like, a timeless story with Star Wars. I think he hit that nail on the head. He got it. It's really the first one, with the exception of the sideburns. It's a timeless tale. It works forever. That's what I think you need with all these movies. That's what these movies that are the big heavy hitters all have in common. You know, They Live is very topical, but because of the society we evolved into. But it really wasn't a big hit. But your Back to the Futures, your Jaws, your other things just work. You know, man versus beast. There was a primal thing in all of us. We were descendants of, you know, cavemen or roamers or whatever they were called. Neanderthal nomads. There we go. We evolved from, you know, hunting and walking all this shit. And there's a part deep in our brain that understands man versus beast. We get it. You know, man versus nature. We get it. Bigger things. They don't have that anymore. And somebody needs to come up with that. I keep saying it on this channel. If you hit the emotional resonance nail really hard, it'll just vibrate and you'll hit us all in a different way. But it's that story. You have to go back to the basics with all these things. You know, James Bond went to space, then he comes back to Earth for a very basic film, and it was a huge success. We've gone so far and so extreme into Rocket Raccoon and all these crazy things. Great. I like Rocket Raccoon. I'm not here to take a dump on him. But the next big thing is going to be a surprise. It's going to be a basic thing that doesn't cost a ton of money, that works on so many levels, that works for so many people. And Disney's going to be standing there with their dick in their hand going, oh, I put all this credence into whatever, and then the public taste changes. Because we know that Captain Marvel will be the end for the current era of the MCU. You'll have Infinity War come out, and people will be excited for it. But that will signify the next step. I know Kevin Feige talks about wanting to have, there's going to be more women in the Marvel Cinematic Universe than men. What does that bring to your argument? Like, what are you trying to do? Because you're not going to condition us to enjoy the female characters just because they're women. They have to be good. I find the Black Widow to be good. I find Scarlet Witch to be good. Maria Hill to be good. The Black Panther ladies are good enough, if you know what I'm saying. But you're not going to have fans just blindly roll over, especially in geek culture, just because of a gender, you know. Same with men. If the guy characters suck ass, like, you know, Cumberbatch's Khan, he's a dude. No, he's not that great. You know, people will shit on him. But just to get back to my Aquaman point, I want to see the next era of something begin. I love superhero movies. I don't want them to go away, but I want them to do something that's not going to alienate the audience, if that makes sense. Now, I'd like to see DC get back some of its Dark Knight era glory by producing something that's really great. And I don't want Marvel to fall into the Star Wars or Doctor Who trap, if you know what I'm saying. It's been this golden era of the comic book movie that I wanted to retain. I mean, some have sucked. Don't get me wrong. Suicide Squad is garbage. But when your average is about an Iron Man 3, I think that's pretty damn good. And I don't think we'll ever get back to that era if we start trying to diversify the movies that were already very diverse in the beginning. The word diverse has been bastardized. People take the meaning, and it's not, what they think it means. So the movie itself reminded me of Wonder Woman and Thor mixed together, which isn't bad. You're going to see a young character be trained and grow into the hero we know. They go on a journey for something. Diana's was more of a philosophical journey. Aquaman's was for the trident, literally. There's going to be a big battle. The battle looks cool. People say, that sounds like a really basic thing to be excited for. Like I said, maybe the next big thing is the most basic thing. the spectacle. The spectacle of Aquaman could be what truly differentiates it from something else. Because Infinity War looked great. There was a big spectacle there. It was huge. It was grandiose. The battle on Wakanda looked a little lame, but the shit on Titan was incredible. But we've never had underwater superhero action to this level. We had it for a minute in Justice League. We're going to see, they're going to go through cracks in the earth and different layers, and there's magma and shit underwater and giant sharks, and the planet's being overrun by craziness, and Black Manta looks cool, and all of these things. So I'm excited about that. I'm also excited about Willem Dafoe in a big role once again. I mean, Willem Dafoe is one of the greatest actors. And yeah, I know you're saying, that's crazy, Jeff. He's good. He's not that great. I love the dude. He is so... When he's on, he is on, and I love it. Yeah, he's had some bad roles, but he's played everything from Jesus to the Green Goblin. I love Willem Dafoe. I think he's awesome. And Patrick Wilson's in this movie too. And you think Patrick Wilson, he was shitty in Watchmen. He was, but he's had a lot of really good roles. And he always works with James Wan. So that's kind of like a Bruce Campbell, Sam Raimi thing going. So that's neat too. And one more thing, the effects were top notch. I thought it looks cool. If they can pull off exactly what they need to in terms of believability, this movie should be a huge hit. I'm hoping that this is the movie that steals the Christmas box office. I'm hoping that this is the movie that people are talking about into the new year until Shazam comes out and then they talk about that one. I don't want Captain Marvel to fail because it's a female-led film. I want the movie to fail so Kevin Feige and all these people that are getting too big for their britches understand that the way you're marketing these movies only turns off fans. Chill out and let some real professionals show you what to do. Demogeny, thank you very much for your generous super chat, my friend. Greetings, bro. Hope your holiday was great. I know it's way off. Star Wars Celebration is on my list, but not going to the venue. When we get closer to the date, y'all letting us know where the meetup is? Yes. Demogeny and everyone out there that is curious about Star Wars Celebration, I actually know where it's going to be. I got to talk to the guy. He listens to the show. We talk to each other all the time. He's a very active fan of World Class Bullshitters and the High Council, everybody. So I will tell you guys months out. I will do my best to get this stuff worked out by January. Dates, times, everything, and we will start to let you know. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great meetup. Let me tell you something. People want to think that the Fandom Menace is a group of whatever. No, we're a group of people that love Star Wars, that love entertainment. We're going to have fun. This is a fun meetup, so be prepared for that. But Demogeny, I will make sure that you guys know it 100%. And it's never too early to be prepared. I'm a little behind on certain things, but you always want to be prepared. So, folks, check out Demogeny's channel, by the way. Big fan of our channel, puts out really great content, and I think you guys will be entertained while you wait for the next stuff from us. Demogeny is where you want to go. GrendelFan84, thank you very much. Superman 78 showed that a true honest hero can exist in a time of cynicism. Could it work today? I'd like to think so, but it'd be tough. You know, GrendelFan, when I read your super chat literally seconds ago, it made me think of the scene where Superman said, Mr. White, can you have this much of my check sent home to my mother? And Lois Lane was the cynical one. But Superman and Clark Kent stayed true to their beliefs. I think that it would really work today. It could be a Superman, it could be Shazam, it could be any of these characters that want to represent a less cynical side of entertainment. That could be incredible. We could see that be the next step. That could be the next big thing. I'm hoping it is. I want to believe in these characters. For everyone out there, it's like, oh, all you want to do is shit on movies. No, I want to go to the theater and be entertained. You know, I could sit and tell you how much I'm entertained by... What did I recently watch? That documentary. I was entertained by that, or I was entertained by Metal Gear Solid 2. I don't get into these things because they're old. I get into these things because they have inherent quality. And new shit has inherent quality. New shit has quality, but it's just harder to find because as a society, all we do is elevate the stupid shit. Be it on TV, music, movies, whatever. Like that guy, what's his name? Tekashi 6ix9ine. What the fuck is up with that dude's face? I looked into his story this week, and I was like, okay, it keeps popping up on my Google feed. Why can they not spell the letter 6ix9ine properly? Okay, so I check it out. Who is that? What is that? I don't know his whole story about what he did criminally, but that is like 2018 The Rapper. You know, you go back 20 years, who are we talking about? Let's see, Biggie Smalls had died, Tupac was dead. So who was big in 1998? Eminem was about to come up, Dr. Dre was about to come back. You had these guys, these skillful masters, if you will. Nowadays, much like movies, much like TV, because the entry barrier is so low in terms of cost to produce music, anybody can be a rapper, and the stupidest shit gets famous. You could have people that want to elevate it because it's, you know, ironic to like this, or it's funny and it's bad. But you don't have the same level of quality. I guess it's all to do with price. You know, the cheaper shit gets, the dumber the people that can get invested are. And I don't mean dumb as in terms of a lack of just straight up knowledge, but there are some songs that are great, and there are some songs that are stupid. Everybody's had stupid songs. Everyone's had great songs. And, you know, it's the world we live in, guys. It's the world we live in. And that's an odd way to say it. I'm sorry to jump into these weird non sequiturs, I guess is the right way to say it. The Laziest Mark, thank you very much. I'm excited for Aquaman for one reason. 2 words, Black Manta, the best DC villain. Does everyone know who Black Manta is? Does everyone know what time it is? Tool time. Let me show you guys who Black Manta is, because Black Manta is a cool-looking character. He appeared on the Super Friends. He's been around. But Black Manta, let's see. Let me show you the actor that's playing him, too, is a cool character. And you know what I really enjoy about Black Manta in this movie? Is the fact that they've kept him to look like the comic book. You don't instantly have to look just like the source material, but there's a reason you're adapting the source material, so why not make it look like the comic book? Why not make it look like Black Manta? I don't know why they... See, that's when you get these people, these actors that want to reinterpret everything. There's a point. Wait, no. That's not from the game. That's from the game. That is not from the movie. Where's the movie? Shit. That's Injustice 2. Black Manta movie. Is that from the movie? I know that's the actor. We'll just go with that for now. But he looks cool. And it's the guy from The Get Down. I like The Get Down. If anybody hasn't watched it, check it out. It flopped. It's dead. It's never coming back. But I liked it. I wouldn't necessarily, Laziest Mark, say that I think Black Manta is the best DC villain. It's good that you think that, and it'd be interesting to have a discussion, and it would give me reason. You know what? Laziest Mark, do me a favor. Shoot me an email and tell me some Black Manta comic books I should read. I'd love to do that in the build-up to this movie. Anybody that has a favorite character that you want me to experience, just shoot me an email, and I will do my best to get to that and check out the stories. So, Laziest Mark, I like the Joker the best. I do think the Joker's been overdone. I'm tired of seeing the Joker. But overall, when I'm watching Batman the Animated Series while I work on this comic, and I realized something too. Batman's kind of a dick. I feel really bad for certain characters that get screwed over. Like Mad Hatter gets screwed over. He falls in love with this woman. He does these things, and then some of these villains are in very gray areas. And Batman, there are a couple times where I'm like, Batman should have just been like, this is your one warning type of thing. But he's supposed to stand for truth and justice, even though that's Superman's gimmick. And, only a couple times did Batman do some really cool shit that I was like, these villains deserve it. But there are a couple times where, like, Clayface got screwed over, but he'll let Catwoman get away. Batman thinks with his Batwang, if you will. I don't know. It's weird how you watch these shows through other adult eyes really bring out a lot of differences in these great shows that you enjoyed as a child. Not putting the show down. It's still the greatest cartoon ever made. But I really, like, there's one where a guy uses invisibility plastic and he just wants to see his daughter. And I know he's a criminal. He's done shit stuff. But man, his wife is a stone cold asshole. And Batman, you should understand. Your parents were taken away from you. But you won't even let this... I don't know. We're not going to get on that platform right now. Greatest cartoon ever made, but damn, I have some sympathy for the villains. And that's why it's great. Because the bad guys aren't so bad. Batman's the constant. I understand. But my God, do I have some sympathy for them. Especially the Mad Hatter. Demogeny says, underground hip-hop is where it's at. I thought Donald Glover, This Is America, is where it's at. I'm just messing with you, man. I don't do a lot of newer music, not because I'm, trying to be cool and listen to old stuff, but the stuff I listen to is usually at the gym or I listen to podcasts, so I don't do a lot of music. And if I do, admittedly, I listen to the Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack score twice a day. Okay, not twice a day, usually once every 2 days, but I listen to it quite a bit. It's great. Hope Aqualad appears. You never know. I think Young Justice is going to make a comeback. I know it's making a third season comeback. If you guys really love Young Justice and what that represents, do what you got to do to support it. Because these companies want to, make money. So if you guys put the money into the things, they can see everything. Like Marvel knows what sells, what doesn't. Hasbro knows how many Rose Tico figures sold and all this shit. They just don't put those numbers out. They do know what goes, where goes, who goes where. They just won't say that publicly. But vote with your wallets, folks. It's very easy to vote with your wallets. That's all we can do as consumers. Let's see. Observer Dude, thank you very much. Do you think Watto would be in the Obi-Wan movie? Maybe a scene where Obi-Wan is in Mos Espa and he overhears Watto talking about Anakin. Now that kind of scene would not bother me at all. I don't think Watto being in episode, or whatever this Obi-Wan film could be, would be bad. I think that having Watto in that would tie stuff together. He could figure out Obi-Wan's a Jedi, and maybe that's the reason why Obi-Wan will never return to Mos Espa, or maybe he does something to scare Watto. Shit, maybe he kills Watto. Who knows? You could have him in there. I don't think it would hurt the film at all. It's not like Dr. Evazan and Ponda Baba, who that the next day have to be at the Mos Eisley Cantina. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Watto appearing, because there's no next appearance of Watto. He's just not there. So, yeah, why not? You could. See, now that's the kind of stuff I do like when people say, what about this? And it's completely plausible, so why the hell not? I don't think anyone would groan. They'd go, oh, okay, it's the guy from episode 1. But he better have the same voice. So I'm putting that out there. Marath Dealine, thank you very much. Batman and the girl who has the body of a toddler. That episode was fantastic because he empathized with her. Yes, that's another one I fucking love. When she looks into the funhouse mirrors and you see what she wants to be. Oh, man. Yeah, that is one of the best episodes. Everyone wants to jump to Heart of Ice because Paul Dini and everybody tells you how great it is. I think Beware the Grey Ghost and the one with Baby Doll, those are much better episodes. Robin's Reckoning, too. It shows a side of Batman that they don't really cover normally. For example, you find out that this crime boss is doing some shit, and so Batman figures out it's Tony Zuko, the guy who killed Robin's parents, and he tells Robin to stay home, stay out of it, and all this shit, because he wants to protect him. And you don't really see that paternal side of Batman too often, but it's interesting and it's cool, and I just really like more depth added to characters. I just don't know at the same time why they can't do this today. We have technology, we have all these great people out there. There are so many great creators out there not working, or they're in other fields because they can't make money. Maybe you could just stop hiring stupid, cheap people and put, for example, you want to work on this DC stuff? Okay, well, instead of putting this new, fresh talent, why don't you have Paul Dini run the shit? And you hire one really great person, and then let Paul Dini hire one or two other people that are slightly below him in pay, and then you can populate it by drones to do the grunt work. But you teach them in the process, and then you build the next generation. But Mreth Dealine, yeah, man, that episode, that is a powerful episode. When I get to that one, I'll probably watch it the whole way through. I mean, I can listen to the show for the most part and enjoy my work, because I really do. I'll tell you more about the comic in a moment. But, yeah, that one, man, that is powerful. Fucking love it. Let's see, Watto was in episode 2, and he said he lost everything to Sire J. Longstroke. Yes! Yeah, I understand that. But the Obi-Wan movie would take place between 3 and 4. There's no reason why Watto, even though he lost everything, you don't have to write this whole story about him coming back and winning it all. But he could be, he would still be alive. He could be an opium addict at Jabba the Hutt's palace or some shit like that. You have all kinds of things you could possibly do with him. I don't think the character's loved enough by fans that they're going to go, oh man, Watto's back, yeah! But I don't think he's a problem enough where people are going to go, oh, motherfucker, no. Jesus A. Sabalas Jr. says, Things Change was amazing too, and Over the Edge. Was Over the Edge the one where Batgirl dies and it's all a Scarecrow dream? Let's see, On Leather Wings is good. I love how people are talking about their favorite Batman the Animated Series episodes. Guys, we are going to do Batman the Animated Series, the stream. Maybe in January, maybe sometime in December. I don't know yet, but we will do it. We will do that for sure. So you guys can go on Amazon and watch it. It's on the DC streaming service. There's all kinds of places that you can watch it. And the show's great. No matter what way you want to consume it, it's worth your time. It's worth your money. It's Batman the Animated Series. And they've never done the character better. Let's see. Aguado from Ace Ventura will start the next Watto, new Disney spinoff, Watto and Aguado, Trash Kings of Tatooine. I'd watch that. Let's see. People want to do Batman in January. Yeah, after the holiday, that'd be kind of good because people are going to be geared up for all this holiday stuff. Wait, they can almost shove Han Solo into Obi-Wan. He knows Chewie. See, that is where we'll have the problem, though. Because Han Solo, it's just a crazy old man. Yeah, great, gets in trouble and all that shit. Han never knew Obi-Wan. That's when you fall into the Star Wars problem. Well, these characters knew each other. What? How? Huh? You'll get the people that will buy into it hook, line, and sinker because they love Star Wars. But then you'll have the average person, or you'll have somebody like me who's like, that doesn't make sense because I love the movie. And you're betraying the film. You betray the law. You betray the rules. You betray the canon. Now this is pod racing, a Star Wars story. It's just Talladega Nights with pod racing. I would watch that too. Shut your mouth, Chip. I'm going like something like a spider monkey. I loved that. Was funny. I've only seen the movie twice, but it was funny. And I'm pretty sure that movie was given away for free with the PlayStation 3 for a while. What an odd thing to give away, but yeah, it worked. So while we're on the topic of comic book stuff, I wanted to bring up something, not necessarily the happiest moment. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but I wanted to talk about Stan Lee again. This isn't me waxing intellectual about the memory of Stan Lee, how he inspired me, because you guys already know that. You can listen to that on the channel. But you know how I feel about Stan, all-time great. But I saw this thing that came out a couple days ago. Admittedly, it's 10 days old. But I wanted to make a point. So it's a Stan Lee to be honored on Marvel covers in December and January. And it just said, starting on December 19th through January 9th, the publisher is going to be releasing Stan Lee covers on these books. And I'm not going to read those to you because it's a long list. But I want to make just a point, and I hope you guys get where I'm coming from. Please do not be fooled into believing that this ploy will honor the legacy of Stan Lee. True believers, remember how Tom Brevoort threw Stan Lee under the bus publicly and how the creators of today paid no respect to Stan Lee? I don't think rewarding Marvel financially is the right message to send them for disrespecting the man. That is just my take. So please, remember, you're not honoring Stan Lee's legacy by going into your local comic book shop to pick up these books. This isn't going to make Stan come back. This isn't going to make Marvel change direction. If anything, it's just going to give them leeway to get away with more bullshit in the name of Stan Lee. So I just wanted to bring something like that to your attention very quickly. That is just a small point that I wanted to make, and I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. Because I don't really call for boycotts or anything stupid like that, but I want you to just know, at least from my standpoint, that that's not going to help anybody. Grendelfan84, thank you very much. It says, Dreams in Darkness, great Scarecrow episode. Did I watch that one yesterday? Hold on, let me see where I was. Because the set's got, each episode listed. Let's see, am I on season 1 still? Yeah. Yeah, I watched that yesterday. That was good. Where am I at now? The Laughing Fish is the next one. That's a good episode. I think that's based on a Steve Englehart story. Laughing Fish. I like that one a lot. I think that's the reason why Mark Hamill got the job or something. Somebody didn't like one of the lines or something. I don't know the entire story. But that's the Laughing Fish is my next episode. And Batman fights a shark. It's really weird how Batman can be looked at, because he is the creation of the pulp era based off the Shadow in many ways. But you can put Batman in many scenarios unlike other superheroes. I love Spider-Man. This new game's fantastic. I'm loving it. Favorite game of the year. But Spider-Man has a finite number of scenarios you can put him in that make sense. Because of his financing, because of all these things, I believe Batman can go to space, underground, Antarctica, all this shit, and be home for dinner. There's something about the character that everyone can relate to, but also it just makes sense that he's in the scenario. Also, though, at the same time, when you put him in the armor, when you make him too techno this and that, I think you take away that high spirit, high fun, swashbuckling adventure aspect of Batman, and he becomes less of that and more, he's rigid in a role. And I don't like that about Batman. If I'm ever working at DC doing a comic book about Batman, he's going back in the cloth suit with gray, the big black bat, very much like Batman Year One. Maybe a little Jim Lee flourishes here and there, but he is no longer wearing Kevlar armor. He can get shot. He can do this. My Batman story would be, hell, Batman may ride a horse again. I hate drawing horses, but it would be fucking cool for the visual. You get what I'm saying? Let's see. I really need to stream PS4 Spider-Man. Yes, I was actually going to do it last night. Let's see. Where were we at? We had a super chat from Observer Dude. Ghostbusters 3 has been announced. Your thoughts? Not going to watch it. Ghostbusters 3 was the video game a couple years ago. Without Harold Ramis, you're not going to have the crew. Bill Murray doesn't want to do it. So unless you're going to get 100% out of these actors, which you're not, plus age plays a factor. I'm not trying to dump on Ernie Hudson or Sigourney Weaver, Dan Aykroyd, any of the people. They're all great. They deserve to be where they are. But the magic is just not there. Eddie Murphy can't be Axel Foley again. I need him to be. I want him to be. But I don't think they have it in themselves anymore. They're too self-aware. They're not really hungry for the roles. They're not hungry for success. Those types of things I don't think will ever work. Plus, Ghostbusters was a product of the 80s and early 90s. Once you kind of got rid of the Ghostbusters ride at Universal Studios, Ghostbusters was kind of a dormant. You watched it. You loved it. It was funny. It was considered great. It was referenced here and there. But like Star Wars, it did go away for a while. Unlike Star Wars, its revival wasn't successful. It was a failure and actually set Ghostbusters back many, many years. So those are my thoughts on Ghostbusters 3. I have no interest in it whatsoever. Did I get to the dinner scene? I'm at the part where Mary Jane... I did the first Mary Jane mission in Spider-Man, and by the way, I really didn't want to play her, so how it said to go up to each artifact and look at it. I would go up to each one, and then I'd run to the next one, so the voice clip would just end up cutting the other one off. It was a mess, and I kept taking pictures of the black lady, her face up close, and I took a picture of her foot and shit. I had no interest in playing Mary Jane's missions, so but I still think the game's great, and I love the fact that I only had to wear that white spidered suit for about 3 seconds before I put the ripped one back on, upgraded the other one, and now I'll never have to wear that shitty advanced spider suit again. Just putting that out there. Mareth Dealine, thank you very much. Joker's Millions in the first episode with Joker from a businessman point of view. Oh, Joker's Favor. I love that one. Yeah. Those are both really good episodes. Now, Joker's Millions, hilarious. King Marlowe, where he gives him the fake money. Great. Love it. Love it a lot. But yeah, the Joker's Favor one is a really underrated episode. And I love how that guy stands up to the Joker and Batman laughs, I think, at the end of it or something. And Joker's like, that's not funny at all. Well, that's what he says when he gets shot in the movie. But I'm pretty sure the Batman finally laughs at the Joker or something. And it's just a great ending. Man, that is a show that bridges the gap between all of fandom. That, no matter what end of the spectrum you're on politically or ideologically, when you say, man, Batman the Animated Series, everybody just stops and they're ready. Like I told you when I was a kid, I used to close the curtains at like 4 or 4:30, whatever time the show was on, make it as dark as possible, and I'd sit in front of the TV and I was like, yeah, Batman. That was the show. Oh my god. Let's see, the Riddler episodes are all great. Let's see. Let's see here. Let's see. Fake Mary Jane. Yeah, I don't like Fake Mary Jane at all. I don't like the actress they used for her whatsoever. I'm not really into that Mary Jane at all. I like Supermodel Mary Jane, who's really not much of a character. She just exists for X, Y, and Z. Not every character has to be fleshed out. You know, you do have some characters who just exist to be what they exist to be. No longer is Mary Jane fun. She's now... Like, I liked when they added a little depth that she had, like, an abusive relationship with her father and all that, and it made you understand why she was the way she was. But now she's just so well adjusted, and just... I watch Dan play it, and all she does is bitch to Peter Parker. This is why we can't be together. This is why I don't want to play your games sometimes. You know, action is my reward to buy your game, or my reward for buying your game. I don't need to hear relationship issues. If I want that shit, I'll go out into the real world. You know, let me be Spider-Man and escape from this and that. Let me have some fun. So, haven't seen Amazing Spider-Man 2? You're not missing out at all. Don't watch that movie. We did a commentary for it, and I have no interest in watching it whatsoever. So, let's see. Did I cover everything I wanted to cover for... No, I did not. I did not cover something, because I got something else I want to tell you guys. So, I was at my local comic book shop yesterday, and we were having a discussion, and this is on the topic of Stan Lee. I said to my comic book guy, Dave, I said, did the death of Stan Lee bring people in? Did, you know, people come and buy books and this and that? And he goes, no, not like I thought they would. He's like, I honestly thought people would come in and pick up some Stan Lee stuff because he's passed away, like they do with David Bowie albums and all this other stuff. But the stuff Stan Lee actually worked on, people don't go out and buy. They probably went out and bought a Spider-Man Funko Pop. Oh, this is in honor of Stan Lee. Stan Lee didn't create Funko Pops. He actually didn't even create the suit of Spider-Man. That should be in memory of Steve Ditko. But I digress. I found it interesting, and I forgot one part of the conversation, but my comic book guy Dave said only 2 things have actually caused people to go in and buy more comics. And the first one was Guardians of the Galaxy. And the other one just escapes me. But that's okay that... You know, it escapes me, because this Friday, I'm going to make a call and see if I can make it happen this week. But everybody liked that I did a Good Morning Pop Culture on location. So I'm going to try to do another one this week. I'm going to try to set it up for my comic book shop. It would be later in the day. It'd have to be about noon. So it'd be a good afternoon pop culture, but it'd be live from Rock and Rooster Comics and Games, my favorite comic book store. My local comic book store, the store that I want to see people from all over the Midwest ride up into and go support, because Rick and Dave especially, who's my friend in the real world, he's more than just the comic book guy. He's a fantastic person, and he is busting his ass to have a good place in our community, because where I live isn't the best of places, but that comic book store seems to be a nice meeting place for people of every walk of life, every level of economic advantage, disadvantage, whatever you want to say about them. People come there to game, they have fun. It's a community place. It's beyond just a comic book shop. It sells games, they have game rooms, people are there all the time, and you know, it's not dying, but it's not doing well either. Comic books aren't really helping the local comic book shop. So I'm going to do a live stream from there, and you know, every time I go there, I buy something. Just out of principle. Actually small businesses I try to go in and buy something from. Like my toy store that I'm going to try to get a live stream from there soon. My vintage toy store guy. That guy kicks ass. He always cuts me great deals. Fantastic person. And I really want people to check out his store and, you know, do support your local businesses, because those guys, you know, have families. They don't, if their business closes, it's not, oh, like Toys R Us, well, so-and-so will just restructure, get their golden parachute and move. No. If their stores close, what do? They got a mortgage, they got a family, they got this stuff. So I always go out of my way to help support that stuff. But I want to go this week on Friday and do Good Morning Pop Culture, which will be Good Afternoon Pop Culture, live from that store. So we can have a lot of fun, and we can do that if a lot of people are excited. So it looks like a lot of people like the idea. Okay, well, I'll just call them to make sure this Friday is good. I got the go-ahead to film on a Friday between a specific time from the owner, so he's cool with it, and I'll interview him, and you guys can ask questions and all that stuff. Obviously, Good Morning Pop Culture is an incredibly interactive show. That's why I call it the best, because it's my show to talk, but it's your show to have all the topics that you want covered to be covered. So it is our show, the People's Show. Sorry, Rock. You had SmackDown the Rock show. You can be the People's Champion, but Good Morning Pop Culture is the People's Show. And like I said, I'll show you guys everything in the store, and we can have a lot of fun. So let's see. No other messages. Let's see. I go to Goodwill every once in a while. They don't have the comics you think they have, at least at my Goodwill. I've picked up some vintage stuff, but I had some fun picking up really old books for, I don't know, pennies on the dollar. Seen Mad Love. That's a great, fantastic episode. When do I think you're going to start the Batman the Animated Series marathon? January. Let's call for January, guys. We're going to do the show. I got some videos I want to work on. I got the comic to work on, so I'm going to need a lot of time for that. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not giving up. Believe me, you're going to hear from me all the time. But expect that I need to focus on that comic. I actually met with the letter and gave him his first payment, because he's a local guy, he's a good guy, and I believe in him. He has dreams of doing comics. It hasn't really worked out, but he'll be a part of this. He'll get a credit in the book. It'll be a lot of fun, and you guys will see true collaborative art. So the comic book movement was all about positivity here on this channel, to tell you guys a good story, to make you laugh, and to help people achieve some of the things they wanted to achieve, but they just haven't yet. The People's Republic of Pop Culture. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. I fucking love that. I'm going to put that on a shirt. That's fantastic. Holy shit, though. I love that. There we go. I'll tell you this. If I ever have to change the channel's name from World Class Bullshit, it's going to be the People's Republic of Pop Culture. Putting that out there. Just putting that out there. What indie games would I want adapted into a movie, or a movie from? I don't really play too many indie games. I'm sorry. Am I a vegan? No, I'll do a live stream where I eat a whole steak. How's that? Let's see. GrendelFan84 popped up. Thank you very much. Always welcome to Film at Comics Elite. Stop by when superstar artist Lucas Perillo comes to our store in January from Europe. Ooh, you guys are going to get some fancy artists up in your store. Rockin' Rooster isn't to the level of Comics Elite in terms of that, but they're a community thing. But yeah, guys, if you're in Indianapolis, Comics Elite has been nothing but kind to us. When we went to Indianapolis Horror Hound, they went out of their way to bring me comics, which I still got in my office. All kinds of stuff. The owner and Grendel fan are really good people. And I mean, this isn't because they were just nice to me, but if they're good people that try to do stuff, support them. You know, there is a comic book store in my city where the owner is an ass, and I will never talk about it by name. I will never go to the store. I will never film at the store. Even if they invited me to pay me, I wouldn't do it, because they don't deserve. I've seen some shit at their store. I've seen how they interact with other stores, and it's sad that for as small as the comic book community is, that people just can't get along. There's enough for everybody. You don't have to try to tear down other people. So that is my take on that. Rethialine, thank you very much. Is the watch party for Revenge of the Sith filled up yet? If not, sign me up. You're on. Let me just write that down. Shoot me an email or remind me. I don't care. I'll make a spot. I don't think it's filled up. That's not even a fucking word. But you're on, man. The Limerick Master of World Class Bullshitters. So Marath. And he wants Revenge of the Sith. Okay, you got it. You are on 100% written down. I'll put out the list this week. I'll make sure I'll check all the emails and see who picked what, or all the Patreon messages, excuse me. And then we will get that list out. So I want to have as many people join us as possible, two per film preferably, so it doesn't get too crazy. But it's going to be a great time. And if you love Star Wars, well, damn it, get involved with us this Saturday. I love our Saturday streams. If they were really, really watched by like thousands of people, I would try to do one every Saturday. Even if it was just me and one other guest, and then invite people on rotation style, we could make that happen. Like I said, this channel is doing great. We are on the huge upswing. Like I said, we had tons and tons of new subscribers. So if you're new listening this morning, welcome to the channel. If you're here every day, like all of our friends are, well, you are appreciated just as much as everyone else. So it's a great thing to have everybody here. And I'm beyond excited and honored to tell you guys, too, that this Thursday night is episode 150 of World Class Bullshitters. So if you've been listening to the podcast like our buddy Seth Scott and all these other people out there, this Thursday night, I'm going to make sure that we have some special segments. We're going to cover the news and all that fun stuff as we always do. But I want to make it special. So if you guys have any suggestions or you have any favorite World Class Bullshitters moments, and they can just be from here on the channel with me, like Good Morning Pop Culture or video, shoot us an email, worldclassbs@mail.com, and tell us how you feel about the channel. Are you excited for episode 150? I'm excited for episode 150. I can't wait to get Thursday night, hang out with my buddies, shoot the shit, talk about the world of entertainment crumbling apart. And I'm glad that everyone's here. I'm thankful that everyone's here. So, would I watch a movie based on the Uncharted games? Yes, I would. I have. It's called Indiana Jones. No, I would. I would definitely watch that. So, remember, folks, this week the High Council is on here, World Class Bullshitters, due to Jeremy having to travel to some undisclosed location in the desert. Maybe Jeremy discovered Area 51. I know, I just can't tell you guys. Privilege of being on the High Council. But I will be back tomorrow morning with Good Morning Pop Culture. And tomorrow I will have the next video, our last remnants of Toys R Us series. And then later in the week I will have Tales from the P.O. Box, where I open up all the wonderful things that you people from all over the world. We had shit come from Sweden. We had shit come from Nashville. We had shit come from Michigan. All over the world. So it's very exciting to get those boxes. I haven't opened them up yet. I'm going to open them up on camera so you can hear my first genuine reaction. And I will make sure that I do not put any of your information out there. So don't worry, you'll be safe. So if you ever send stuff, don't worry about being doxxed on air. It's not my style. Ooh, Cesario Japan. What's up, man? Latest Twitter hashtag is SJWs don't buy comics. SJWs post pics of their collection. Guess what's not in said collection? No woke title comics. Oh, that is hilarious. Yes, that is hypocrisy at its finest. I sit and I tell you guys what I like, what I think is great. And if you said, Jeff, pull out some Spider-Man books, you talk about being a Spider-Man fan, well, depending on what's accessible, because my closet's a mess, I will pull out classic issues of Spider-Man. Issue number 300, that's a pricey book. Or issue number 11, which is my earliest book, stuff like that. So, Cesario Japan, it's really funny when these people, like, oh my god, I saw the worst comic book yesterday. It's called Man-Eater, and it says it's for girls and women only and shit like that. And you know what? It's sitting on the shelf. No one bought it. It actually had a tampon with cat ears drawn on it. It was the dumbest comic book I've ever seen in my entire life. So if you're out at your local comic book shop, show a picture of that. I'll show it on my stream. The High Council is tomorrow night, folks, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on World Class Bullshitters. The High Council convenes every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was sick. I missed my first week, so my perfect attendance is out the window. But I was shivering in bed, and I don't even remember Tuesday that well. Sire J. Longstroke, thank you very much. My favorite character is a bail bondsman named Fred Herbert. Fred was made infamous after his client, Gregory Stevens, called him and cussed him out. I'm going to take a picture of that and look it up. Hall & Oates Man-Eater. No, not Hall & Oates Man-Eater. That is not the comic book. Oh, people already reviewed it. There you guys go. You can check it out. DNC has a video. I'm not going to start getting involved with those types of comics. I don't even want to touch them. They may melt in my hands. They're just not for me, and that's fine. They can have a voice. They can do what they want. They don't have to be They don't have to take away my Spider-Man comics, and I don't have to take away their whatever they make. Enjoy it. Have fun. Thank you very much. Max, I didn't like Spider-Man Homecoming that much either, so believe me, you're not going to be getting dumped on this channel. Spider-Man 2 is where it's at. So, folks, it is 10 o'clock, 10:04 to be exact, which means it's time to close out Good Morning Pop Culture again. Today's show has been wonderfully successful. I'd like to thank everyone who has watched this. Make sure you give it a thumbs up on your way out. And also, if you wouldn't mind, just click on another YouTube video. Check it out. It helps the channel grow. We've seen great growth. We want to continue said growth into the new year. Anything's possible. We're shooting for high numbers into 2019. So make sure that you guys are here tomorrow for more. I will be here tomorrow for more. And we'll have a lot of fun. It's good to be back. It's good to be healthy. I'm ready to get my life back on track. Even though it's just 6 days. It's been a weird 6 days, but a good 6 days for the most part. So guys, thank you to everyone who's been hanging out. I'll be back soon, and be on the lookout for our next single release video. So from all of us here at the channel, mainly me, because do it. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.